All right. So, yeah, the plan here is Mel and I both have spent a couple of, we've been talking about this idea. Actually, oh, sorry, I'll back up. My boss told me, really want to have a good time, you should go ahead and put together your top 10 games of all time and then share them with somebody else who's also put together their top 10 games.
That phrasing on that was a little scary at the beginning. I'm
It
glad we
was,
went that
yeah,
direction.
yeah. No, I get it. But, so I like started putting together my list, streaming games with Mel one night, and was like, oh, I really want to do this with Mel. So I told Mel, hey, go make your top 10 games of all time and let's talk about them.
Yeah.
We are.
Ta-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Game 1, 10. Starting at 10.
Sorry for the 10 because we got to be dramatic. It's
Yeah.
like every YouTube video you've ever seen ever. Imagine the like spinning IGN number coming in. Number 10.
Is there, well, sorry. Again, sorry to back up. Is there anything you want people to know about your top 10? Like, is there any sort of like opening
Uh,
statement?
I'm a basic bitch. That's my opening statement.
Okay.
Don't judge me. I also, spoiler alert, tried to limit myself to 2 Legend of Zelda games. Because otherwise it would have been the top 10 Legend of Zelda games.
Even though they're like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Oh,
Okay.
there's way more than 10, buddy. Come on, man. You know that much.
True. I mean, that's gonna like say, this is gonna make my real, well, hold on. So, my
Sherman's
list.
gonna come in with the cool, obscure online games, and I'm gonna be like, here's all the random AAA titles that were popular in like the late 90s to early 2000s.
Oh, see, like so much of mine are just like, this guy only plays PvP games.
Yeah, mine are all, this girl doesn't do anything.
But I say all of that, and I'll go ahead and tell you my number 10, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I'm sitting here like, there's more than 10 games?
What the fuck? Why did that do that to me? Okay, I'm not going to say shit. Why is that number 10 on your list? You know, number 10.
Why is it number 10? So Ocarina of Time is really interesting for me. It was I never owned an N64, but Ocarina of Time was probably the game, like the only single player game that I got to go as a kid, like just going to Mel, you've sunk so low into your chair.
I'm
like
letting you tap the floor. I'm letting you have your moment.
It was like the um game I got to go the deepest on as a kid, and like I had really interesting moments. Like I admittedly as a kid didn't play it all the way through. I at some point used the Game Shark and like cheated my way to Ganon with like max stars, every item. I mean, Game Shark was great. Can Game Shark be my like 11th best game of all time? What really stands out to me over all these years is actually the um immersion of the experience. It definitely was like what someone described as like just a 3D game and like the huge. And at the time, it really was mind blowing to me that the game could be like that. And the game that's like missing from here that was similar to that was um N60 or not the was Mario 60 was the other kind of game in that category. But Mario or Zelda stuck with me for so many reasons. Probably the biggest one actually like I love Ocarina. That's why it's
Cool. I don't have opinions at all. I'm going to keep them contained in my heart. My number 10 game is Castlevania for the NES. No Breath of the Wild. I said this at the beginning. That I limited myself to 2 Legend of Zelda games, and Sherman didn't even realize that there's 10 available. So keep that thread in the back of your brain. My number 10 game on this is the original Castlevania, the OG one, side-scroller masterpiece. The first console I ever had growing up was an NES. I grew up in a house with two sisters who also played the NES, and a mother who played the NES, and a father who did not. So I had a little bit of a different gaming experience than most people. And some of my very early memories, like some of the earliest memories I ever have, is of me sitting next to my sisters where they are playing Castlevania and I am holding the controller that is not plugged in, convinced that I'm playing the game. So it's less about like, this game is super amazing and super great and super cool. I've never beaten the game. I've never actually seen the ending because again, basic bitch. But it's just like, it's like one of the earliest memories I have as a child. Is me hanging out with my sisters.
That's like, so I love Castlevania
Mm-hmm.
a bunch. Not similar, like, well, so I didn't own an NES. I never beat the game. I just pulled up a video of like Sequelitis from Go Raptor like a couple years ago. He did a
Mm-hmm.
Zelda
Yep.
video, but even like way further back, he did a Castlevania video,
Yep.
and love the way like he articulates this one room where it was just dodging shit. You were
Yes.
like so much was going on, and he's just like, this game was just nuts. No one was meant to beat it. No one was meant to like really understand it. I mean, like, sure, plenty of people did, but like as a kid, I can't handle any of this.
Yeah. I never, like I said, I have an NES sitting in the other room.
Like the
So
classic, or do you have an actual
yes,
NES? Okay.
like the actual NES sitting in the
Oh,
other
like an
room.
actual.
Yes, like the
Okay.
physical OG one from the 80s. So in my living room, not plugged in, I have every single Nintendo console, excluding the Super Nintendo, because I never owned it growing up. I never had a Super Nintendo. I played the versions of the games later when they were re-released, and I want to add it to my collection. But the NES sitting in the other room, and do not have Castlevania because I still have not found it because my sister was a dumbass and decided to sell our NES when I was in college. But it's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So I desperately want to replay it now that I'm an adult and actually play the whole thing because I've never beaten it because I suck.
You ever want to play any of the other ones?
I mean, I would want to try some of the other ones. I've never, like I said, I just the visualization I have of the first game is like I'm talking like 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
So it's just snippets of what happened in that game. It's more about the memories of me just sitting in my living room with my sisters and them playing the game, and 2-year-old me being convinced that I'm playing the game. It's like that meme where you made this thing, I made this thing, but I did that myself.
I actually just imagine you with an unplugged controller.
Yeah, it was 100% unplugged. My sisters would hand me the controller wrapped up. I would unwrap it and then just put it on the ground. I wouldn't plug it in and just sit there convinced that I was playing this game at 2 years old. It is a single player game. I was just convinced 2-year-old Mel is stupid. Mel's a basic bitch and she's stupid. That's your takeaway for today.
The theme of no. I choose to reject.
That I'm a basic bitch?
Yeah.
I mean, PSLs are like my lifeblood, man. Pumpkin spice latte. Come on. Ion Reese knows what I'm talking about. Ion Reese and I go to Bath and Body Works and buy fucking leaves candles, which by the way, we have not done that yet. We need to do that. We need to go get some PSLs and go get some fucking leaves candles and make it smell like goddamn fall up in here. All right, let's continue.
All right.
Number
9.
Number 9.
Go first.
No, this is your party. I'm living in it.
All right.
I also get to judge you if you list another Legend of Zelda game.
Well, obviously, Link to the Past.
Really? Is that what you're doing next?
No.
Okay.
Number 9 for me is StarCraft 2.
Okay. Doesn't surprise me.
I know. After this, it starts to get like really, really. That's what you're gonna pick.
I'm not gonna judge you.
You've already done the judging.
Yeah, you opened it with Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, man.
StarCraft 2 was I never played StarCraft growing up. I really didn't even know that StarCraft was a big deal. Um, I think like at some point I realized in high school that like all these people loved StarCraft Brood War and that there was a competitive scene. Like I just didn't know that
Mhm.
as a kid. And then like StarCraft 2 came out and I like got into the beta and I thought it was like like I remember having dreams of me playing on the ladder. Like literally I
Mhm.
would just like wake up and it was like I just had a dream about winning a ladder match. Felt
Nice.
so good. But it was like I'm gonna like just keep giving homework about all of this. I think
We're
what
gonna
like
go watch some videos.
just like
Afterwards, Sherman will tweet out the links to all of the videos that you need to
gosh,
watch in order to understand the mind of Michael Sherman.
just need to like write these down now. Okay. Oh, that didn't work. Tried to rip this.
Double Edge. I will answer that question later.
Uh,
You will understand my reaction as we continue on through this activity. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think like StarCraft was my first introduction to
Mm-hmm.
like it was the first time I went to a gaming event, the first time like gaming just like part of who I was. It was like the hot game when I got to college that everyone
Yeah.
had already.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like stayed up every night and played StarCraft.
Yep.
Like freshman year, so I didn't do too grade wise. Career wise, it
Surprise, surprise.
worked out great.
Surprise, surprise, the guy who never finished college didn't do too great his freshman year in college.
It got a great. Hey, who said it was limited to freshman year?
Uh, Spoiler alert, Sherman never graduated college. I like to rub this in his face a lot. Like, maybe if you finish college, you would know how to do that.
What?
Just anything.
Anything? Yeah.
Any insert thing you don't know how to do here, I will always say you don't know how to do that because you didn't finish college. Even if it makes no goddamn sense.
How to make a pumpkin spice latte. I've learned that.
Yeah. I mean, just saying. That's where I learned all the best basic shit. So people were asking what I meant by a leaf candle. I linked to it. It's a scent at Bath and Body Works that smells like leaves. Yeah, I'm that basic. All right. I did graduate college on one.
Wait, is it like all leaves?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
It's like welcome to motherfucking autumn. Need a candle.
I have a LaCroix candle in my bathroom. It's
What does it
like,
smell like? Sparkles?
can I go get it?
Yes.
Alright. I'm just like,
Why would we not? You can't just say I have a LaCroix candle and then not go get it.
I'll be right back.
Yes, odd one. I did graduate college. I have a degree in theater. I went to the University of Wisconsin. Sherman, however, did his internship at Riot Games and then just never really went back to college. So that's why I make fun of him that he doesn't. He never finished. I can make fun of him. I'm explaining the story about how you never went to college.
Oh, okay.
You went to college, you just didn't graduate.
Ready to see the candle?
Yes. I will have to wait for the stream delay because I have to wait for the stream delay. You're breathing directly into your microphone, and it's a beautiful sound. I am not breathing directly into my microphone.
So it's literally I bought it on Etsy. It is a LaCroix can, had the top removed and filled with candle wax that smells.
Oh, good. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Infamous candle. I really like it.
Yes. So context for everybody. When I got married, Sherman was responsible for watching Don Juan and Meryl, and he would come over and cat sit. And I knew that how much he loved LaCroix, so I bought him a case of LaCroix to put in my fridge so that he could have a case of LaCroix. And he told me afterwards several times that he came to watch the cats because he would be motivated to go look at the cats because he knew I had LaCroix and he wanted some more and he ran down. Leaves his life, I agree.
When did you get married?
2016. I've been married 2 years now.
Like
dude.
what month?
September.
Can't believe I've been drinking.
Mm-hmm. What the hell? Someone made that? It's just a fucking can.
Yeah, I bought it. What's
Yes.
even? Not only did someone make it,
Somebody bought
somebody
it.
bought it.
And his name is Michael Sherman.
I got a coupon to buy another one because I bought it. So I mean, like,
Oh
of
god.
course I'm gonna buy another.
Gonna buy another candle.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right, so you like StarCraft 2.
I like
Getting
StarCraft
us
2.
back on track because you
Yeah.
like esports and you like being competitive.
Yeah, I think StarCraft 2 was just no, like I had so many nights of staying up late, played 2v2 in college, and me and my friend Brendan with Patrick and Fee out in the living room apartment,
Mhm.
and we would just go back and forth. Brendan and I never won. Brendan was the best, I was the worst, and Patrick and Fee were the middle two. So
Mhm.
it was like, this is how we balance the game. And anything that went outside of that was just balance.
Mhm.
But um, then we would like pile into bed 4 in the morning to the ESL, and you'd like wake up at like 8 in the morning. Why are there 5 guys laying on my bed?
That's my question every day. Why are there just 5 dudes laying on my bed? That's what I ask myself every day. That's how I wake up. I'm just like, why are there 5
I,
dudes laying on my
I
bed?
miscounted. I don't know.
There's 4 dudes. Why are there 4 dudes laying on my bed, man? Come on. It's just a common question. So keep it on the train of Mel being a basic bitch. I have Mario Kart 64. That's number 9. Specifically Mario Kart 64. Because I've played way too much of Mario Kart 64. You're going to notice a trend of console Nintendo games on my list. E-gaming dogware. Hi, Mr. Beerus. How are you? How's it going? Okay, pause. I'm completely off track. Beerus, look at what game he put at number 10. I'm sorry.
I'm on the left. Mel's on the right.
You and I almost left, man. I almost left. anyways. So I have Mario Kart 64 as number 9, mostly because it was one of the kind of sticking weirdly on the same train that you have, one of the earliest multiplayer games I've ever played. Exactly, Barris, exactly. So I grew up in a house where I was super young compared to my sisters. I'm 11 and 13 years younger than them. So by the time I was old enough to do like group activities, they were basically out of the house. And then a lot of people that I grew up with didn't know I played video games or didn't really like ask me about playing video games that too much. I was a huge athlete, so I think they just kind of assumed I was in the jock circle of the world. So I would just play Mario Kart 64 obsessively by myself for the inevitability when I showed up at somebody's house and they also had the game, and then I could just prove to them how much cooler I am than them. Because that's how you do it. You just beat the shit out of them at Mario Kart, and that's how you prove that you're a cool kid. Specifically Mario Kart 64 though, because I have other Mario Karts, but I did not play them nearly as much after that, nor was I as obsessed with being good at it. Also, fun fact, I don't know how to drift in Mario Kart. Still don't know how to drift. To this day, you can ask Iron Reeves, you can ask Shifty.
But on like
No, I do not know how to. I am not good at video games. I have never been good at video games. Like, this is a reoccurring thread. I am never good at video games. I enjoy them wholeheartedly with a passion, but I am never good at them. So I know it's just a button, guys. Okay? I mean, y'all just need to understand. I don't know how to drift in Mario Kart.
Have you like had it explained?
Yes, many times. many times.
Yeah, it is easy. HW's kind of got it right. You hold the R button, go the opposite direction.
Yep.
Just to the right, you push the stick to the left.
I also am like incapable of using inverted controls.
Oh, see,
So So if there's inverted controls in a game, I cannot play it. I'm out.
You know what I've like started to recognize? I use my Mac at work,
Mm-hmm.
and scrolling is um scroll you, your finger up, down on a Mac. And I've gotten so
Yeah.
second nature that
Yeah.
every
I
time
have
I get
not.
back on a PC, I'm like, whoa, what is these like non-inverted scroll wheels?
Yeah. No.
That's why scroll wheels is my number 8.
Male,
Uh,
female, basketball player, field hockey, or track. I was a competitive swimmer for 12 years. I also played basketball. I also did soccer. And then in college, I was in crew, so I rowed in college. I've done a lot of athletics over the years. To answer
favorite
the question,
athlete.
who's my favorite athlete?
Eh, Top 10.
Oh, I don't have a top 10 athlete list. Jesus Christ. Okay, this is going to get real sad really quickly. I don't ever want to say this because it's going to be really sad. Everybody that I like idolized as a child has in the last 10 years been quickly shown to not be worthy of idolization anymore. So I don't really want to say it.
Okay, that's fair. I'm sorry.
Not like it's not your fault at all. But
I'm well aware it's not my
like
fault.
when I was in high school, for example, and when I was in high school, I got to meet Ryan Lochte, who's an Olympic swimmer, right? So when I was in high school, I really looked up to him. I can't really say that as much anymore because it's a little awkward now. So that's my answer.
I was just gonna say Faker. Faker's my
Legends never die, friends.
Legends die.
They become a part of you. So that's why you're buff. I'm not buff double edged cat, but thank you for making me feel good about myself. All right. Number 8. What you got? What should we got?
Number 8's kind of like boring. Like it's not boring. It's just like it's probably
The middle of the road. It's the middle of the pack.
no, it's the newest game on my list. Like looking at this
Oh.
right now, it's just the most like recent
It's the
game.
most recent game?
Yeah, it's PUBG. PUBG. 8.
That is pretty. That's hella recent.
Yeah, I think um Tetris. Tetris is it. Newest game.
Okay.
I played a lot. So I mean, like obviously, I can't keep saying I played a lot of this game. This is my top 10 list.
Nope.
Um,
Played none of it. I mean, I didn't even finish Castlevania. You don't have to play a lot of games to have them be some of your favorites.
PUBG one that I played a ton of H1Z1 Battle
Mm-hmm.
Royale.
Yep.
And when that came out, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. This game is absolute garbage, but I love this concept so much. And like I would go into work, and I would tell another coworker, I was like, it's a great game, and he would actually tell me, he was like, we should just quit, make our own better version of that game.
Yep.
This was Jung. He used to tell me this all the time. He's like, what's stopping us from starting making our own H1Z? Um,
None of you are engineers or game designers or artists.
oh no, that was exactly my response. I was like,
that's
I have
keeping
no
you
idea what I'm doing. But like then PUBG came out, and I was like, oh my god, this is the better version of that game.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. This is what that looks like. I was like watching, it was like a stream pre-release event. A bunch of streamers were playing it. And I just remember like staying up late every night watching Twitch streamers because I
I
thought,
remember when you were obsessed with it, and you got everybody else in the office obsessed with it.
yeah,
And you all would just like, okay, it's 7:00. We finished our work. You would all just get up and go to the PC bong and just be there until like 11:00, and you were all playing PUBG.
yeah.
It was
That
right
was
after you guys all got obsessed with Stellaris.
see,
You
I
guys
never got into Stellaris. I've like tried and haven't even been able to take one turn. I don't know what Stellaris. I don't think
I
I
don't
ever will.
either. I don't either. But I just remember it was Stellaris for a
Yes.
while, and then it transitioned quickly into PUBG.
Yep. And it was honestly like the way that we like grouped up and played was this co-op like gaming experiences I've had. Just because it was not, it's nowhere like any of the other PvP games I'm going to talk about in here, and just decisions that you had to make and the way you worked as a team, and just the feeling you got for like the accomplishment out the game. It's just no other game ever had
Mm-hmm.
done. And I think like my roommate got into it. I can he was like playing each one. Uh, Believe me, PUBG's the game. You got to get in it. Works for PUBG Corp. Like
Nice.
PUBG was like
Got him a job.
I didn't do anything. It was just like that to me is like the game plays something special.
No, you got him a job. I've
Uh,
decided.
uh, did tell him to talk to somebody. If Alex, if you're watching, I didn't do
Funny.
it.
That's hella new though. I don't have any games that are that more that recent. Spoiler alert.
A lot of my games after this.
Mm-hmm.
This one was special. I think it's the only game in the. I have like 400 or 500 hours on Steam in the last year. Um, yeah, I mean, I just I'm into it, and
Yeah.
I kind of am like very spiteful. No, it took all my.
Your mic is cutting out according to chat. Also, Mirage has dropped their top 10 list.
Let's see that.
This is cool. This is cool.
We don't
agree
on anything.
I think I've played literally one of those games. But I've also declared several times that I am basic and therefore not helpful.
Bot hacking.
All right, you ready for my number 8?
Yes.
It's also my most recent title on this list. It's going to give you an idea of how old my games are. The Walking Dead by a little company called Telltale. Me personally, I am
rip in peace. Sorry.
Rip in peace. That's okay. And we're just talking the original one, just OG episode. But for me, I am a huge story-based person. You're going to notice a trend continuing of that in my games. And in my opinion, they had like that sweet spot with that first one where they had innovated enough in how you tell a story and had a compelling enough story that it was captivating, magical, entertaining as fuck to be able to do. The whole other conversation about where we are now with them, whole separate day, whole separate conversation.
Yeah.
But for me specifically, like the original Walking Dead was first, I didn't know anything about the Walking Dead franchise going into that game. And then second of all, just kind of, I guess, the style in which they told a story, where me, as someone who's bad at video games but enjoys them a lot, was able to complete it in a way that felt satisfactory to me. I didn't feel like I was being prevented from doing something based off of my own skill and my own capabilities. I am also the type of player that is totally fine. I am totally okay. If you want to stick me on a train track and give me a linear experience and I'm not allowed to deviate from that, as long as the linear experience is something that I am compelled by, it is totally fine with me. Like, I don't need to climb every single mountain. I don't need to know what's in every single thing, right? I am perfectly okay with being on a linear track as long as I'm entertained by it. So for me, going into that, like thinking about if I had to pick my like favorite purely story-based game, that would be definitely one of them.
Explain to me. I really know nothing about what's it called? The Walking Dead. Was it a book and then a TV series?
It was originally a comic. It was originally a comic series, and it still is a comic series that still is releasing pretty regularly.
Okay.
So there's comics. Then there was the TV show, which tells the same story of the comics, or at least started that way. It's quickly deviated. It pulled a Game of Thrones, where it's quickly deviated. So it's telling the same story with the same characters. The game of The Walking Dead is set in the same universe where some of the characters from the comics show up, but they are side characters and they are not who the story is about. They are just like Easter eggs that are there if you're a super fan. It is the story in the first game of Lee and Clementine. And Clementine is the character that's kind of followed through the rest of the versions of the story or the episodes. And Clementine's a child.
Oh, hey now, Meryl. Do you want to say hello to the... Oh, my headset unplugged. Do you want to say hello to the internet? I can't hear you, Sherman, because my headset's unplugged. Give me a second.
Don't tell Mel.
I need to plug back in.
But Meryl smells.
Meryl was just so cute. I got distracted.
No one tell Mel I said that.
Meryl, come back.
Looking at you, Shifty Cloak.
Clementine will remember this? Yes.
What?
Yes. Clementine will remember this.
Oh, Clementine.
That's what Ian Reed said in chat.
I know, and as soon as she typed that, I jumped right to
Here, Meryl.
I'm here. I want you to go into the internet to say hi
Westworld.
to you.
Okay, goodbye. She's gone. She's out. My cat is out. She doesn't want to say hi to you.
Okay.
That was number 8.
that was
Now
number
what?
8. Number 7.
We're, by the way, I just want everybody to know we did not talk about our list beforehand. We are weirdly paralleling each other, which is interesting so far. Continue.
So, number 7 for me was Command and Conquer Red Alert 2.
Okay.
Uh,
Never played that game.
so there's gonna be a couple of games in here that like I really got into because of my next door neighbor. They, as a kid, like I did not grow up in like a pro video game household. I grew up like in a very anti-gaming household. Totally different now. My parents love games, love what I do, love everything about it. But it was like as a kid, like
They're hip to the know now.
they're hip to the know. It was really like really early on when it was like, I was the kid who didn't have a console. I remember I finally got a Game Boy, and like I got a Game Boy like the gray brick. All of my friends had like uh what's it called, a Game Boy Color. Ian Reese, yes, we're gonna get there. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
So Red Alert 2 was one that my neighbors introduced me to. I would go over, they were like two brothers who had pretty good computers right next to each other, and so they would constantly play games with and against each other. And I went over and like they really got into Command and Conquer Red Alert 2. It was an RTS, and you played the Allies or the Axis powers. And it was basically.
You should pull up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Oh
to
yeah,
interrupt
yeah, no,
you.
no,
You
no.
should pull up what it looks like because I haven't even seen this game. That's how basic I am. That's how not cool and hip to the know I am. I just want to see what like the logo looks like. I gotta wait for the stream to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it was an RTS.
It's an RTS.
Yeah. And probably like the first RTS I really got into. No, the first RTS I got into was actually another Command and Conquer game. It was like one of the first ones that came out. But I played so much Red Alert 2, and I remember like saving up for it to buy it myself. And like the cover for the, I mean, it was like T for teen. My parents weren't super into the idea, but I went with my mom to Target, and the cover is ominous, and I was like, no, Mom, the first mission, I defend the Statue of Liberty. Like, it's okay. This is totally an okay game.
Is this totally okay? It's American as fuck.
I'm gonna like save the Statue of Liberty. Somewhere.
Oh my god, defending your games.
This is also. This game also had like real life. They like filmed. It was like not CG or anything. They like filmed all these videos, and they had like the general and Tanya, and like eventually like the president gets killed by a suicide bomber. This game was like intense. It's so much fun. And it was like, yeah, it was here you were defending the Statue of Liberty from like these missiles that were just like barraging it. Also had cool music, and here's Tanya This is Tanya just swimming around and like blowing up all the ships. She was total badass. So, yeah. I think like once I got it too, the best thing about the game is it had 2 copies of it
Ooh.
in it. It like was on 2 discs, but you could play the game with either of them. And so I'd go over to a friend's house and I would bring like a shitty laptop and we would sit
Yeah.
there next to each other and like play the game. Not online or anything. We just like would play the game next to each other, like
Yep.
talk about it.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. I think the thing that struck me the most as somebody who's never played this game and never seen it before was those cutscenes. How when this game came out, I feel like there's a lot of games that did those weird like fully video cutscenes,
Yeah.
but they all look exactly the same. Like you could just insert this into any of those other games and they'd probably make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Rip the kid who had to play on the shitty laptop.
This was like the oh, I was the one who was on the shitty laptop because I was at the friend's house.
Yeah.
This was the like they had like the screens in the background. I think
Yeah.
they released a sequel called Yuri's Revenge where like Yuri was like mind control Hitler. And it was Hitler with mind control, and he literally like you're talking to
Oh,
Russia,
no.
and Russia has mind control Hitler, and mind control Hitler like takes the
Wait,
phone.
what? So wait, Russia has mind controlled Hitler.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
after it's like a post World War II game where
Yep,
like
where Hitler still exists and Russia is controlling him.
but
now.
like as like
Next logical
mind
sense.
control Hitler. Yuri Red Alert.
Wasn't Tim Curry one of the characters for the Russians? According to Ion Reese.
Wasn't Tim Curry one of the
I have no idea.
Oh.
Oh Jesus. So he's basically what's his face? What I can't like Marvel character. Fought against Captain America. Red Skull dude. He's basically that guy. You all know who I'm talking about. You insert the information that you know there, because you don't need me. You don't need me. Okay.
Yeah, this here it was. This was like the shit. It was like the Red Alert 2 intro. And
How bad could it be?
Is that Red
man?
Skull? Yes, thank you.
According
Ryan.
to NORAD, we've got Soviet
I'm
aircraft
just
coming at us from all directions and ground
Alert
troops
intro.
pushing
Okay,
up
there's
through
the
Mexico.
White House, and
I
this
don't
is
know
the
how they
generic
snuck in on us.
president-looking
You better
man.
double check
like
this
the
before.
look at
sirens
them.
going off in the background.
This doesn't make any sense.
It's also
call the
important I
Kremlin.
can't hear
Will
anything
do.
that Sherman is showing in any of these videos. So I'm just
I'm the
inserting
one
my
that put you
own
into office.
narrative.
So like here is like mind
Call them
control
off.
Hitler,
Yeah.
and they like pisses off the Russians,
Sir.
and then mind control they're like getting ready to nuke Russia. Like here they are in the sub getting ready to
And
nuke
then there's
Russia.
mind control Hitler just turning
Mind
around
control
and like,
Hitler calls the air base, and this guy's just like, oh, I've got to kill the other guy and not open the silo doors.
Open the missile silos.
Jack
Jimmy,
Beers
what-
is saying Tim Curry,
We
yes,
have to
but he
open the
wasn't Red
silos,
Skull. I
or
knew
they'll
they were not one
explode
and the same. I was just comparing the concept
The silo
of mind
doors are
control
closed.
Hitler
This is
to
suicide.
that of Red Skull.
All right, that's Red Alert 2. The final mission was on the moon, and one of the maps was in San Antonio, and you could like garrison the Alamo with units, and just thought it was cool.
That's how every American game has to go. You have to defend the Statue of Liberty, and you got to hang out in the Alamo. That feels like
And
the most
then go
American
to
thing.
the moon. Go to the
And then
moon.
go to the moon, because we have to do that
Because
before the
mind
Russians-
control Hitler is on the moon.
Nice. All right. So this is where I start to reveal my hand a little bit with number 7, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
That's no, this is 1. Okay,
This is number 7.
but this
It's
is
Legend of
Zelda
Zelda.
game number 1.
This is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is my number 7 game.
Okay.
Like I said, coming into this, I had to give myself a limit to how many Zelda games I could put on this list, because otherwise I would just basically be saying the same thing, like in a variety of different ways. For those of you who do not have the context, I am a massive, massive Legend of Zelda fan. To the point that the engagement ring that Shifty Cloak gave me when we got engaged has the Hyrulean crest on it, and the Master Sword. So the first Legend of Zelda game that I'm going to put on this list is at number 7, which is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is by far the darkest story that this Legend of Zelda franchise has ever told. It is a very common theory that it is actually describing Link's death after Ocarina of Time, where the character of Link has died and he is going into the afterlife and going through the stages of grief and death in order to be able to move on. Yes, H4, it's even darker than Breath of the Wild. So for me, I love this version of the Zelda franchise just because it is so dramatically different than the rest of the games. Since I'm such a huge fanboy, I've played every single Zelda game multiple times. I have probably played Majora's Mask. I think I'm coming up on 7 or 8 full playthroughs, and I never beat the game until I was an adult because as a child, I was too scared because it was so dark. The story is essentially that you come to this town and everybody's freaking out, and the moon is literally going to crash into the earth into 3 days, destroying all civilization and everything that anybody has ever known, and you are trying to stop it. And the character that's on the screen is Skull Kid, who gets basically infused with the power of an evil mask that basically is forcing this kid to do that because he thinks it's a good idea. And you as Link are trying to literally stop the destruction of everybody you've ever known and loved, while metaphorically talking about your own death and the stages of grief and dying. It's hella weird. But I think it's just a really unique and interesting story. Also in college, I wrote an entire paper specifically about this game. And if you think about historically when it came out, the game was released, but it hit market in the United States in December 2001. So September 11th, 2001 was only a few months before. It was built and created and developed during the Y2K scare. For the young people in the chat, that was right at the turn of the century between 1999 and 2000, where everybody was convinced that all of our technology was coded incorrectly and therefore going to explode, and all of the technology and internet in the entire existence was going to be destroyed, and nuclear bombs were potentially going to go off and we were all going to die. So there was just this theme of like impending doom that this game was developed under and then released right after 9/11 in the United States, which I think to me is partially why it has such great reviews, but also didn't get played as much at the time compared to the other Zelda games because it just hit a little too close to home at the time. So it's a real in-depth analysis of this fucking game.
Should I play it?
I mean, you can. I think you definitely should. I personally think you should. Again, if you want to, sitting in the other room is the original N64, the one that I had growing up, and I have the OG console cartridge sitting in the other room. So if you want to play that, you're welcome to. I also have it on GameCube, Wii, and the DS. So if you want any of the versions of that, let me know. I have a problem.
It was like Majora's Mask was a game that, like, for somebody who had Ocarina of Time on their list, I never touched Majora's Mask. Again, I didn't have a console. I didn't have an N64. And you're right. I never like thought about the timing of like when it came out, but it was for some reason I totally like breezed right past it.
Yeah. So H4, the difference between Breath of the Wild and Majora's Mask, in my opinion, Breath of the Wild is the rebuilding of civilization after it's been destroyed, right? So if you go, all right, this is going real deep, real hard. Sorry, people who aren't Zelda fan, people like myself. Breath of the Wild is the destruction has already happened, and you are now waking up after and coming to a world that has been destroyed for a long time of everything you ever knew and loved. Majora's Mask is standing on the precipice of the nuclear war that's about to happen. And they're different. They're a very similar concept, But Majora's Mask is you are going to watch everybody die rather than just like having the realization later that everybody's died. You're going to see the entire world get exploded into fire and flame, and you have to do something about it. Whereas Majora's Mask or where Breath of the Wild is like, that's already happened. You can't control it. You're here to rebuild. One's a little bit more oppressive and pessimistic. One's a little bit more optimistic and looking forward to the future. Hey.
Nice.
And start my
went-
favorite credible precipices. Oh, we're getting there. Anyways, we're getting there.
That went deep. That went over my head.
That's what I'm saying, dude. When you put fucking Ocarina of Time at number 10. All right, let's do this game. Remember, I limited myself to 2 Legend of Zelda games.
I just
Oh,
like
that's
assume for Matt's sake, like if one of them, the other one is not Breath of the Wild. Not that you have to like give away, but I mean if
Not
one
gonna
of
say
them's
shit.
not gonna say shit, but what if one of them is not the other one's not Breath of the Wild? I think he's gonna he's just gonna be mad. I'm just letting you know.
I mean, I know. Matt and I have had a conversation many times about Breath of the Wild. For those of you who don't know, Matt Beerus, or M. Beerus in the chat, was with me at the GDC where I sat in a Target parking lot with Isaac for 7 hours through the entire night to get a Switch so I could play Breath of the Wild. The only game I really cared about. I played the new Mario game that is on there. So the 3 games I have on my Switch: Breath of the Wild, Mario, and Stardew Valley. And that is all that is on my Switch. I do not care about most of the other games because they are not Zelda. I buy Nintendo consoles to play a Zelda game.
That's like the strategy of Nintendo. Welcome to Nintendo.
I know. I will fully admit that I am horribly biased.
All right. All right. Well, number 6.
Sure, you go first.
6.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is my number 6 is Pokemon Snap.
Let's go from dark, depressing, the world is ending, you were coming to the grips with your own mortality, and you just died. Pokemon
Dude,
Snap, everybody.
I got a camera.
Let's throw some apples and some shit.
So here's the thing about Pokemon Snap. Again, this was from the console generation where I didn't own the console. I never owned
played
it.
Pokemon Snap. I didn't own it.
Well, so here's the thing. I never never owned it, but it turns out I knew a lot about the game. Like a lot. Here's like the story that I always first brought to life that I knew way too much about this game. When I was in high school and it came out on the Wii Virtual Console, I was at a friend's house and let's play Pokemon Snap. We played the first level. I must have lost 3 friends that day because I would just yell at them for not getting things. I'd be like, "No, you're supposed to throw the apple over there, and once you throw the apple, the Pikachu will go over to the surfboard, and then once you're on the surfboard, then you take the picture." Or no,
You never
this
played
is
the game.
well, no, I played the game. I played the game. I just didn't realize how much I played the game as somebody who didn't own it. This was my neighbor 2 houses down that owned it. The one with the two boys and the computers was right next door, and
I
then
just can
2
imagine
houses
you
down.
freaking your shit at some poor college kid who's just "Yo, dude, I just want to take pictures of Pokemon." And you're like, "You're doing it wrong."
You
Keep controller. I'm
here we
actually
go.
playing this
Oh,
on the.
I'm not gonna. Nope, no audio here. So here,
Fabulous.
see Matt. The it was literally right here where I just start yelling at them. No, what are you doing? You have the apples. What are you just taking the pictures of the Pikachu for? Do you not know you can get them on a surfboard? It was later. I also knew all of the they'd already beat the game, but they hadn't unlocked the level.
Yeah.
They didn't know how. And I was like, oh, well, here are all the things you have to take pictures of to get the heal level. And I was just like, I haven't played this game in 9 years.
What the fuck did you do? What the
Why
fuck
do I
did they do? What the fuck, Sherman? What?
I mean, the response from my friends was everyone was like, you know way too much about Pokemon Snap. And I didn't know I knew way too much. It's like the things at the end here, if you manage to take pictures of all the Pidgeys,
Yeah.
then they go and fuck up the Meowth.
Yep.
There's like just all of those, like, what do you have to do to get X, Y, and Z Pokemon? I know. If you're ever looking for a good drinking game, um,
Play
take turns.
Pokemon Snap.
Well, play Pokemon Snap, and try and beat the other people's records.
Ooh.
And if you manage to beat someone's record, everyone else has to drink. If it's your photo that they beat, you have to take a second drink.
That's a valid point, Mirage. Sherman, have you ever played Fatal Frame?
No.
It's a horror. Do you know what Fatal Frame is?
No.
It's a horror game where you battle ghosts by taking pictures of them.
Not for me. Pokemon Snap. I was like disappointed that this isn't what. I was disappointed there was never a sequel. They've had plenty of time to make a sequel. But then also I was disappointed that this isn't what Pokemon Go was. I mean, this was like kind of what Pokemon Go was, but I was really hoping that it was going to be like walk around, snap pictures of Pokemon, like in the real world.
Yeah.
I was.
Nope. Pokemon Go is not that. Pokemon Go is doing this repeatedly.
It takes.
Yeah, I guess, but that's not worth. That's not fun. I don't want to take pictures of the real world.
This scrub only got 2 Pidgeys.
You
That's not enough to really fuck up this Meowth.
only got 2 Pidgeys. It's not enough to fuck up the Meow.
Oh, there's 3 Pidgeys to get.
It's not
Get the
enough.
3 Pidgeys, you really fuck up the Meowth.
The way I see it, we can do whatever we want. Yes. Truth. All right. Ready for mine? We're keeping on a trend here, I guess. Not really a trend. This has nothing to do with anything that you've talked about at all. I guess it's about what Mirage is talking about in chat. I have Silent Hill 2 as my number 6. Or whatever number we're on. We're on number 6.
6.
Now, so keeping with, I guess, the Majora's Mask theme of dark, depressing, psychologically terrifying games. Did you ever play Silent Hill or any of the Silent Hill games? Okay. So it is a Japanese horror game. For those of you who do not know, I am a huge fan of horror movies and horror games. I'm really bad at playing horror games because I am usually scared the entire time. So I have just very slow progress. Spoiler alert, I'm bad at video games. Talked about this. So the whole premise of Silent Hill in general is there is a town called Silent Hill where weird shit happens to people who go to visit it or live there. And the premise of Silent Hill 2 in particular is that the main character goes to Silent Hill being driven by a note from his dead wife, as all good horror games start. Because that's how all good horror games go down, is you have a message from your dead wife. So you show up in this town of Silent Hill and you're eventually just trying to find your wife, and you're trying to go through this spooky ass town with like smoke and mirrors. It's dark. All of the monsters are weirdly feminine and or sexualized and try to kill you and murder you. And it's one of those weird clunky games where you can't really defend yourself very well, so you just end up running and hiding and being scared about everything. This is a very old ass game, so I'm sorry if I'm spoiling anything for you. But eventually, over the course of the game, you realize that you're not 100% sure of what this character is experiencing is real anymore, or if it's in his brain. And there's also a theory that it represents that this is him going through purgatory. And this is his experience atoning for the sin, because eventually it is revealed that his wife was on her deathbed in the medical facility, and he killed her, and he's dealing with the guilt of killing the love of his life. But the thing that I think is particularly cool, amazingly cool about this game, is there's multiple endings, like most horror games, like most story-based decision games. There's multiple endings. But the way to get these multiple endings isn't in like a game like Walking Dead, where you are very clearly making a choice between two characters or making a choice between two moments. It's in actually how you play the game itself. So, for example, if you're going through the game and you're playing it like you would most horror games, you're being very conservative with your health pack. You're keeping yourself generally at 50% or less of health, or you're not always immediately tapping yourself up with healing potions. You're going to get an ending that's reflective of the mental state of someone who would not immediately heal themselves and make themselves feel better. And James ends up killing himself at the end of the game. Right? Because the idea is that he doesn't actually care about his physical state, because you as the player didn't immediately heal him all the time. If you interact with this particular female character a lot and kind of take her opinion over other things, not being like, oh, I pick you, but like follow her at particular moments, or keep talking to her to see if she says new and interesting things, you're going to eventually get an ending where you go off into the night with her and potentially start a new romance with her. There's like these small, subtle ways within the game that are not like big, like giant spotlight moments that actually define what type of ending you get and what kind of experience you get. So the replayability and the way that the game goes out is much more determined by the actual choices you made in the game, rather than I came to this moment and I chose to let Sally live instead of Bob live. That's why I think it's cool. Cool. Don't worry, not all my games are dark, depressing, and mentally exhausting. Just this little like middle section. Yeah, I'm sorry you don't have anything to add to Silent Hill. Jade, have you ever seen somebody dress up as Pyramid Head? Do you know who Pyramid Head is? You should Google Pyramid Head. Because in my opinion, this is one of the quintessential villains of all time.
Okay, I may have seen.
Yeah, you've seen Pyramid Head before. You've also seen the nurses from Silent Hill before. They're like, this is like one of the most iconic, in my opinions, villains in video game history. And it comes from Silent Hill. And it's supposed to, a lot of people believe, it's supposed to represent the main character himself, James, and his own brutality that he sees in himself because he murdered his wife. It's real deep. Sherman likes to be competitive with his friends. Mel likes intellectually deep shit.
Because Pokemon Snap is like peak like competitive experience.
Yes. Pokemon Snap next to Silent Hill 2. Hey.
Awesome.
All right, we're in the top 5. Let's do this.
Before we jump into the remaining 5, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go grab a glass of water.
You need some water?
Yeah.
You gotta take a break?
I didn't plan this well, and I'm also
it's almost like you're a stream noob.
I am a stream noob, and I'm like, I'm having a blast. This is kind of fun, and yeah, I'm just.
Okay, well, I'll just hang out here with your chat.
I'll play Silent Hill.
Oh, I won't be able to see them in time, so it'll be. It's great. Silent Hill is spoopy. It's Peace Boop. It's Peace Boop. Puppechu, Aaron Rees. But fuck Bob, he deserves that. So his name is James, which, you know, that's another just generic white dude name, but, you know, it's okay. It's okay. I don't like the other Silent Hill games as much, to be honest. I would say if I have to rate the other Silent Hill games, Silent Hill 4 would be the next one on my list. 1 and 3, I think Mirage talked about 1 and 3. 1 and 3 have the same storyline. Like 1 is a direct prequel to what happens in 3, and then 2 is kind of in this weird limbo land in the middle. And then 4, in my opinion, just completely changes and goes completely different. Where on your list is Worst of World of Warcraft? You'll have to find out, friend. You're gonna have to find out. But I don't know why I'm such a weird goober about these sorts of things. So right here, I'm behind, is him fighting Pyramid Head. Spoiler alert, you can't ever kill Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head is just like follows you oppressively around in some of the sections where you're like in a labyrinth trying to get out, and just Pyramid Head is slowly encroaching closer and closer and closer. And you can use your gun to slow him down, but you can't kill him because he's you. Welcome back.
Hello.
We're talking about Pyramid Head.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Pyramid Head. He's on the screen.
yeah, he's fighting Pyramid Head. I was explaining that in this moment, you can't ever actually kill Pyramid Head. Spoiler alert. Even when you're fighting him, there's a sequence where
Pyramid Head actually you
yes.
can't actually kill.
Yep. So there's a sequence where you are in a labyrinth and you are trying to escape him, and you can slow him down by shooting him and wasting your bullets, but you can't ever actually kill him. Fun fact.
All right. Number
Cool.
5?
Number 5. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
get out of this P scary territory.
Somebody already mentioned I have a Fantasy Star Online icon down here. Fantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2. Originally for the GameCube, like most of my experience was with GameCube. But that's my number 5. Basically, game is um one of the like really the only RPGs that I played.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was supposed to be
Just
like an online game for
Mhm.
like that I never played online.
Yeah.
And what so like the thing that struck me about it was again like neighbors, friends. It was that the neighbors, the ones who had the 2 computers, the 2 guys, they had this game and you would create your own characters and you could then like keep them on your memory card, go over to your friend's house and import your characters into the game and like you could play with your character with everyone else.
Oh,
So like we would
it's like the baby MMO before MMOs.
yes, yeah, it was like Diablo. And like here's the thing. I was in like middle school and elementary school and I just thought this game had so many weapons. Like there was a cinematic like
Yeah.
that like just showed all these like weapons and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God. I want to be them. I want to have those weapons."
Welcome to
And
being a cosplayer. That feeling. That's why cosplayers cosplay.
and like never got any of the cool weapons. I never got that far in the
Oh.
game, but like
Oh.
it was like oh, I just played so much of it and I've actually been like
You
I've gotten
streamed it.
I've been streaming it and I've gotten like re into it. Um and like I've been playing it a lot on like
Yeah.
on an online crack because the game is they eventually released a PlayStation or a PC version of it and had
Mhm.
online servers. I never played that, but yeah, I've been playing this cracked version, and I think it's just it was the game that it was like it was my introduction to MMOs and like having a character and like making gear selection decisions and like
Mhm.
really just feeling though like I was a part of some universe. I never really followed the story that closely, but as a kid I never beat it. I never beat the game and I knew like
Yeah.
what the concept for the story was. And I remember all the time wondering like I wonder how this ends. Like I wonder like
Yeah.
what happens, and I could never get there. And like now I did it last night. So it's like it's totally different now, but it's just one of those games that uh was challenging. It was meant to like push you. It was meant for you to not be able to beat some things.
Mhm.
And like not until you like had the gear, and that's gonna come into play kind of later on.
Yeah.
Um, in my list, but
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. I just learned I learned so much about games and like the types of games that I like to play
Mhm.
from this. This was like PvP without PvP. It was just there was personal achievement and progression that I had to like learn how to overcome.
Yeah.
And I got to play socially. Like going over to my neighbor's house and playing. I do remember the one time I accidentally like screwed up my memory card and lost my character.
No.
And yeah, it was
Ribbon
literally
Peps.
I like I remember like I used to like wake up every Saturday morning and like play this game room in the living room and I remember the morning that screwed up and I was just like I sat in place on the carpet for like 30 minutes like fix it? What do I do?
What do I do? Oh, poor baby Sherman.
Yeah.
He broke his favorite thing. Oh.
But luckily, there's these things called mags. They're basically like little
Mm-hmm.
floaty shoulder things, and um, like you made them like you leveled them up, and you like
Yeah.
they gave you a bunch of stats, and that got saved between
Yeah.
characters. So like it was in my bank at the time for some reason, which got saved. And so when I like created a new character, I like pulled that out of the bank and was just like, sweet, I got the mega shoulder still, and this can give me a ton of stats. And I like caught back up, and I just kept playing the game. But
Yeah.
even like now on this Athenia server, I can like play with people,
Clever.
and it's cool playing. Like there were like when I just opened up the game, there were like 80 people online, and it's just cool like playing a game like that where you know all the other people that are playing have a similar connection to the game still, that they care so much about it, or that it's like
Didn't they also like help you level up and get better gear too?
I did too. Like yeah, one like I ran into some people who were just like, I'm at level 70 and like I'm just gonna like power level you for like 30 minutes,
Oh,
2 hours. I was up for 4 hours.
that's so sweet.
Yeah. I played with another group like that on Monday night where we were playing through some hard content, and they were like, one guy gave me a legendary item that I had never. Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean,
Aw.
apparently it's really common, but like it was still like meaningful. And
Still, that's
yeah,
pretty cool. That's
yeah.
awesome. That's cool. My number 5 is not nearly as heartwarming as and exciting.
I thought you said that we were past the.
I mean, we're past the like we're talking about death and oppression, but it's not an interactive game. So with other people, so I also limited myself to one BioWare game. Fred, I have Dragon Age Origins. I did not put Mass Effect anywhere on this list. Spoiler alert, that would be on my husband's list. But I have Dragon Age Origins, which is the first one in the franchise. It's a single player experience that has a cool and in-depth story. I have replayed it so many times. For those of you who've never played the game before, it's also like I would classify it as like your quintessential fantasy epic story of like you need to save the world. There are elves, there are dwarves, there are dragons. You need to do stuff. You can be a mage. It was cool. I also only played it on the computer, so if you tried to play it on a console, I would never recommend playing Dragon Age Origins on a console. Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, some of the other ones, go ahead. They're better on consoles. Dragon Age Origins is a PC-based experience. I think I just enjoyed it personally because my road in the video game space is a little different than yours. So I grew up in a house where my family was not necessarily anti-game, but they paid attention to it, right? So my older sisters had played games. My mother played games, and therefore my mother chose to educate herself quite a bit on what I was playing and what was going on within the gaming industry when I was growing up. So that meant that as a kid, I was not allowed to play any console games other than Nintendo products because my mother knew that an Xbox or a PlayStation were much more violent and therefore more mature. So when I went to college, I had my PC, of course. I got my first PC. And I also was able to purchase and play games for myself and pick my own games that I wanted to play and actually buy my own things myself. So most people say, oh, I played my first like fantasy RPG when World of Warcraft was really big or really popular, right? World of Warcraft became big when I was in high school and I wasn't allowed to play computer games. I had to play Nintendo games. So spoiler alert, World of Warcraft is not on my list because I have played it, but by the time I tried to play it, it was Cataclysm was the first time I tried. And by that point, everybody knew what they were doing so much that I was just literally following people around and picking up sparkly things. And I had no affinity to the game because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And everybody else was just like, oh, we're just going to power level you and we'll get you raids and it'll be super cool. Just get through 60 hours of bullshit for no particular reason because you don't understand what's going on.
Also a bad expansion.
Yes. whole kind of conversation. I've never raided. I've never done a raid. I've never had a top level character. And so this was kind of my like version of that like expansive, big, story-driven experience that a lot of people I think compare to the World of Warcraft experience, minus the social aspect. The other thing I really enjoyed is if you play it on PC. I've said this many times. I am a huge anti turn-based combat person. I've never finished a Pokemon game. I've never played a Pokemon game beyond 2 gyms. I've never played a Final Fantasy game because I cannot stand turn-based combat. So this was a little bit of that turn-based combat-based experience. Like you have companions that you have to like assign tasks and assign roles to, but it is mostly real time. And then when shit hits the fan, there's a lot going on. You have the ability to pause, zoom out to a tactical view, and think like they're kind of showing off right now, and issue commands to individuals, but it still happens real time. And I get the satisfaction of walking up and hitting something with a sword. So, yeah.
This just continues to like show the where like I love
I hit the microphone.
games.
Oh, I hate them.
I
I hate them. If I wanted to play Excel, the video game, I'd go fucking hang out in Excel, man. Like I hate them. I hate grinding.
when I
shit.
was
I hate just doing something repetitively so I can get stronger. I hate it.
when I was here in high school, I would write text-based turn-based games where it would be like it wasn't just like a text-based adventure. They were text-based games that always focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be like you would have turn-based combat as well, and like I remember like I wrote this like dragon game where you fought a dragon in text like based combat, and I would like give it to my friends to like play the game, and they were just like, I don't get this. And I was like, well, obviously you don't understand that this dragon has 5 phases, or the boss fight has like 5 phases. And like I was like super complicated. It was one of those things that because I wrote the game, I knew all the things.
Yeah.
I loved loot I owned. I don't know.
Guess who decided to come say hi?
Gone.
It's that one kitty. Hello. Hello. Do you remember when Sherman would come to pet you? And you would just stare at him?
Learned about the
Yes, because he thinks he's dying and therefore starts eating boxes. I love you very much. But you're very silly. Cool, we gotta keep talking. Number 4, we're in the top 4. Top 4.
or
Dun, 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 dun.
this one's like an easy one. I don't even know I need to do that much explaining. Super Smash Brothers Melee. Best Smash Brothers game ever made. That's it. I just played a shit ton of Melee. I love the game.
Yeah.
Like I like if you go to my Twitter, it's still which is .com/Riot.
Hey, plug.
I've got the Prince of Forward Smash right here, which is just like I used to play a lot of Smash, especially when I moved to
Mhm.
LA with Josh Kim, who now at Riot, and
Zell, he's on the
Zell,
internet as Zell.
Zell Law, one of those two. Or just
It's Zell
Zell
tweets.
tweets. Oh, okay. And I would like while everyone's like, "This is how you win the game," or like play the game. I was like, and right stick right on the C stick, forward smash.
Forward smash.
Forward smash, really long wind up, and like I don't know. There's something about Melee. There's the like the nerd in me that's like this is just such a like, well-made game, well-designed game. There's just a part of me that kid played a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like there's just like I'd go over to a friend's house and we would just go back and forth in Melee for 9 hours. Like we would just sleep over at a friend's house, set it up on the TV, and play for so long. And I
Don
think
Juan's
it
just
was
rubbing the microphone. I'm sorry if you hear that.
this is a Don Juan ASMR.
Yeah, Don Juan is not producing ASMR for us.
The
Hi.
thing that was I think I really enjoyed about it was, um, well, I was good at it it's like the
Yes.
definition of like I was good at it amongst my friends when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I would beat everybody with Kirby, play really well, and I learned
Kirby,
that
man.
then I learned when I like started meeting all these like good players, like, oh, Kirby's the worst character.
Come on, can you stop rubbing the microphone, please? Can you hear him?
Yes.
He's just mewing and just rubbing this
Oh
microphone.
yeah.
He's just like, hello, you are not paying attention to me. You've been sitting talking to nothing. You must pet me. I will rub the microphone. This is him loving you. He just meowed right into the mic.
I hope this is just Don Juan like saying like I know Sherman's on the other side and I want to like
I would
share
need
my
to bond.
affection.
I need to bond with him. Yes. Sorry, I
That,
didn't mean to interrupt
that's
you.
no, that's Melee. Like I don't have a there's a couple of games on here in
Mm-hmm.
my top 4 that I'm like not gonna have a ton to say beyond like these are just damn good games. Like I
Yeah.
just thought they were the shit.
Yep. Makes sense.
That's
My,
Melee.
my top 4 is The Sims 2. I'm a girl that played video games in the like 90s to 2000s, and that was one of the few computer games I was allowed to play. Girl still plays a fuckload of Sims for no particular reason.
Thing you do or girls do?
Yes, I do
okay.
personally. Girl, meaning me,
Yeah.
personally plays a lot of Sims for no particular reason. In my opinion, Sims 2 is probably like my favorite iteration of it. Probably just because that's kind of the sweet spot where they didn't start nickeling and diming us for everything.
Yep.
I'm just gonna throw it that way. You're a girl who plays games, you must play The Sims. I don't think that everybody has to play The Sims. I'm saying I specifically have a lot of female friends who are about the same age as me that play The Sims. So this was like where they would like throw everything at you. You could just like walk up to somebody's house, you could just knock on the door and just do weird Sim shit. Sims is also like, in my opinion, the precursor to like the Minecraft idea of let's build everything, let's make a cool version of everything, let's be silly and micromanagey and do weird shit. And I've had so many like weird ass interactions that are just funny stories post The Sims about like the weird stuff that just happens. I have like multiple Twitter threads about weird shit that's just happened in Sims games for me. So I don't know. I don't really have an explanation of why I like The Sims other than it's dolls. It's interactive dolls.
I played a lot of Sims with my sisters.
Yes.
We would like
Fun
like
fact, Sims has, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sims as a development team, the original Sims and Sims
Axis.
2, was one of the dev teams that had the highest percentage of female developers creating the game. Yes. And there's a lot of theories about online as to why so many women enjoy The Sims, but one of the major reasons is because the dev team was mostly female. So it was built with a female gamer or a female person in mind specifically. So, and yes, Iona Reese's example of Sims was one of the first places that they experimented with being gay. I've heard that story quite a bit from a lot of people. Like, The Sims was a weird way to like experiment with your own sexuality when you're like 11 years old or 12 years old or whatever, right? So, like mourning over your vampire friend in your college dorm room and having to spread her ashes. Yes, H4. Like that story. That was a weird ass story that you only get in The Sims. Like, okay, so the story, I'm going to tell the story really fast. I was playing The Sims 3, so the newer version of this. I sent my sim to the dorms, the college dorms. She went into a sorority house. I picked a house. She shows up. Immediately, everybody's freaked out because one of the girls in the dorm is a fucking vampire. Fucking vampire. So, like, everybody has this, like, mood thing where they're like, oh my God, this is fucking weird. I'm scared. There's a vampire over there, right? So, eventually, I'm having to deal with this situation and, like, my girl's going to college and she's finding a boyfriend and all these other things. And all of a sudden, like, the vampire just, like, glitches out in the backyard and can't go up a tiny little hill. and dies. Just upright dies. So now everybody has gone from I am terrified of this vampire to oh no, somebody I knew died. Let's just keep mourning her repeatedly over and over and over and over again. I'm like, y'all didn't talk to her. Y'all were scared of her. Now she's dead, and now you're best friends. Like, what? That only happens in The Sims. That story only happens in The Sims. That's the moral of that.
My sisters and I, like, I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. We didn't play that many games together. Like the two games that we played as a kid, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
Yeah.
and The Sims.
Yep.
And like graffiti mode in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and just go back and forth. And we would play The Sims and recreate our house.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yep.
just that was like one of those like we could all sit at the computer
And just
and
do something weird together.
yeah, and just like sit around, and it wasn't about who controlled the mouse or anything. It was just about
Nope.
like talking about like we should build this, and like we should
Yep.
make them, we have to get mom and dad to like actually like each other, because like just because you made a mommy and a daddy in the character
Just
creation
doesn't mean they
like
they
each
like each
other
other.
starting out.
Yeah. Yep.
Then there was also like when you learned about cheats, it was time to make a bunch of
Build
couches,
build a massive house.
build a massive house, fill that massive house with couches,
Yes.
take the person with the worst cooking skills,
Yeah.
burn down the house.
Every Sim story always ends up with murdering everybody.
You can't-
Murdering everyone. Or like just creating a murder house where you just like let the game. Okay, another weird interaction that I had specifically in The Sims 2 is I did that because again, every child ends up doing that. Where you build a sim and you just like let it autoplay and just watch the sim slowly kill themselves. So my sim slowly just goes insane because they've never spoken to anybody in their entire existence. And all of a sudden, just another version of themselves show up, like a ghost version of themselves. So I like assume direct control, like you do, and made the real sim talk to the fake sim, get in an argument. And then the real sim and the fake sim just like walked off the screen. And I was never able to control my sim again. And it just started like max fast forwarding. So I was just looking at an empty house. And then eventually another non-controllable version of my sim just showed up. So it was like my sim had literally gone insane because they had never spoken to anybody in their entire existence, fought with an imaginary version of themselves, and then just ceased to exist.
The best was I had like a friend who just kept buying the expansion packs when it, like
Yep.
'cause we played a lot of Sims 1, and as
Yep.
the expansions would come out, you just needed like the latest expansion disc in order to play.
Yep.
So as they would get the latest expansion, I would then get from them the previous expansion.
Yep.
And like I mean there was the date night one, there was
Yep. Original Sims, you couldn't kill the children. I just remember that. That was bullshit.
you couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't kill the children on original Sims. They would get taken away by like child protective services, but you couldn't kill the children in the first Sims.
Live in large, house party, hot date, vacation. I think I had through.
I think
stuff.
I think I had all of them.
Yeah.
I had all the Sims 2 expansions as well.
2, I think I missed. I just barely missed it. I think it was partially because my sister maybe like we weren't playing it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't I remember all of these.
Mhm.
And I think I bought the base Sims 2, but it was like right after my older sister done with.
Yep. All right. We're in the top 3, fam.
Again.
Top 3!
For 3.
Don Juan's back. People are just going to be
number
loving the microphone.
I think number 3 is going to be, again, boring. I don't have a whole lot to say about it except that I've just played it my whole life. It's Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that one.
It's just like
I was waiting for that one.
I think it's the best shooter that's out. to say it. I love watching it. I love playing it. I love just everything about it. But
Mhm.
I will say that like the version of Counter-Strike that I did get to know first wasn't really this version. Wasn't the defuse the bomb, like that wasn't really what I cared about. I played a bunch of surf maps.
Hello, baby.
Mel, do you know about surf maps?
No, I do not know about surf maps
So,
because I've never played Counter Strike ever.
so there was this thing called surf maps where just the whole goal was they used the physics of Counter-Strike
Oh,
to
I think I've seen
surf on
this.
like inclined planes.
Yeah.
And you would just go through these like weird maps of just like surfing. And like
Yeah.
I would go as a kid, there was a PC cafe
Uh,
in my neighborhood where my mom and one of my friends drop us off, and we would just play PC games like all. And we go in, log in, play Counter Strike, search for all of our favorite maps, surf maps, and just play those like
yeah.
6 hours.
It's
And then our
hilarious.
moms would come pick us up, and they're like, "Oh, you were playing shooters the whole time?" I was like, "No, no, no, mom, I was surfing. I was surfing the whole time.
Surfing the
I
whole
was
time.
surfing the internet, but not really. Surfing the
That's,
internet would have gotten me more."
yeah.
Uh,
That's a dangerous territory. That's how you get some weird shit.
and then I fell back in love with Counter Strike about 3 or 4 years ago when CS:GO came out,
Mhm.
and I started watching Counter Strike esports, and I still don't know
Yeah.
like any player. I don't know who's a good player, who's a good team, but I know that there's a CS:GO major on. I want to watch Counter Strike and just like
Yeah.
wake up and be. I want to go to an event. I've never been to an event, but
You should go.
oh, it's on my list. It's on my list.
Can you stop pushing my microphone around down one? I need that. Thank you.
I get the lethality of it, and that's partially I think a lot of the games that I put that are on here is like a lot of them are just built on this idea of I own the fact that I beat somebody. And I
Yes.
feel like that's not necessarily the case with a lot of like non-lethality
Mm-hmm.
because you start introducing movement, you start introducing all of these things that are like reaction to moments, but I love games where like because I outplayed somebody from the beginning, I get rewarded because
Mm-hmm.
I knew like I should be watching this door and have my crosshair here. I should be rewarded for having that. And just as much, I should be even more rewarded and feel like an even bigger sense when I outplay somebody and outdo them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm like, they think I'm gonna be here and I manage to still get around that, that's like, yeah, it's just an awesome feeling to me. So I like, and that's why I like PUBG. That's why I dislike Fortnite. That's why I love the graphics of Blackout.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started playing COD Blackout, I was like, COD games like I don't like these.
Someone, why you got a mew? Did you hear that?
I do.
Isn't he funny? I'm sorry, you're talking about important shit like COD shooters, and the cat's just like, hello. You are streaming. I am internet famous cat named Don Juan. Hello.
I
Nice to
met
meet you.
internet
Yes. She's a streamer.
famous streamer.
She's a famous streamer. She's not a famous streamer at all. Random people on the internet. Okay. Counter Strike. I was waiting for you to eventually do that. I thought it might be a little bit higher than this, but I was eventually waiting for your Counter Strike to show up because I know how much you love Counter Strike.
Yeah.
Cool.
Counter Strike is still I one of those games where like I will want to be good like for life,
Hmm.
and I just hope Counter Strike continues to be around like forever.
Come on, can you stop meowing directly into the microphone when Sherman is talking? That's rude. It's called interrupting him. You're not even looking at the camera. Like you're just looking at me and meowing into the microphone. Okay. Well, my third game is Age of Empires 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So Age of Empires 2 is a RTS game. But I never play the multiplayer online against anybody.
Oh, that's where the
I have never played it online against anybody else. I've never done multiplayer with people. I don't play that experience. I have played, I think I'm at like 400 hours on my Steam account or something like that in Age of Empires 2, because I played like the re-release where they did it on Steam. I went back and I played every single expansion and played every single campaign multiple times, and like even like the user generated content version of expansions, I've played those. For me, this is another one that I just have vivid memories of this as a child. This is my mother's favorite game of all time, and she has also played every single expansion and has never played it online against any other humans. Just because I think it's I like the idea of playing RTSs against computers, mostly because I am not good at video games. I think that's the big takeaway of this evening. Mel is basic. Mel is not good at video games. And she still enjoys them. That doesn't mean that I can't participate in the activity. I just can't be very competitive about it or very good.
No, I'm really bad at games.
Sherman, you are better than I am. Come on, man.
But there's so many other people who are better than both.
This is true.
On the relative scale, I am literally in Counter-Strike. I am the lowest rank in the game. I have like 500 hours.
Okay, Sherman, I didn't want to do this, but I tried to play Call of Duty one time in my life. One time.
Yeah.
I died in the tutorial 6 times.
Absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm not
6 times.
I died in the
6 times.
I died 5 times in the Rainbow Six Siege.
Times.
Rainbow Six Siege. Right. Oh my god, you got really close to the camera there, man.
6 times.
It's gotta be.
But I think Age of Empires 2 is just fun. It's
Yeah.
like, in my opinion, it's when I think of RTSs, I don't think of StarCraft, I think of this.
Yeah.
I like the leveling system. It's clean. It's good. I want it more.
I'm guessing you never like Civ games.
Never played Civilization.
Yeah, I've just going back to the turn-based. Hate it.
Yup.
I feel like Age of Empires or Civ is like a.
Yep. Civ is a modern version of what Age of Empires is. It's like versus other people.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, cool. Everybody gets to have their like turn to think and calculate their plan. And I'm like, God damn it. I don't want to play Excel sheets, the video game. Just let me click, add things, and watch it get bigger. Like they are billions. When they release a campaign mode for that game, I'm going to play so goddamn much of it.
Really?
Yeah. They Are Billions is a new RTS where you are playing against only AI. There is not going to be any multiplayer in it. It is specifically designed to have a campaign mode, and I am so goddamn excited because RTS campaigns are some of my favorites.
Did you ever talk to?
Yes. Yes, I have. So, for those of you who don't know, Greg works at Retail Games. You may or may not have heard of him. He is the man who, maybe has something to do with this game.
I think he was like pretty junior on this game. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was pretty junior, but he may or may not have something to do with it.
Yeah, he may or may not have something. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like one of his first games post biologist.
Correct. But I love this game.
You ever want to make Age of Empires 6? You gotta go become.
Yes, apparently.
Are they make?
I have no idea.
Like there was.
I thought they were going to, but I don't ever know. I don't ever know anything. Don't ask me anything. No one tells me nothing.
It might have come out.
Okay. Well, it's not Age of Empires 2.
Oh
2.
no, I've been reading.
Hi, Zenigami.
Hi,
Hello, Raiders.
Zenigami.
Hi, Raiders. How are all of you? You guys are coming in at a perfect time.
Yeah, we're just at the good stuff.
We're gonna talk about our top 2 favorite games of all time.
Actually, Zach, stick around. You're good for this next one. You're important for this next one.
I don't need to defend. You're gonna defend Sherman. This is his stream. I am but a guest.
So Zenigami and I went to high school together. I probably
Hey, Zenigami.
played. He was in the room when I made a fool of myself playing Pokemon Snap.
Oh, good. We talked
And
about
like,
that. We talked about his obsession with Pokemon Snap.
yep.
We talked about that.
He.
Yes, Sherman's as on the left, mine is on the right. So
Actually, I
you
don't
can.
know if. Oh, Zach and I played StarCraft. Zach was part of the group that got me into StarCraft 2. But this next game is like the
Wait,
game.
pause. Did you write StarCart too? Wait, pause.
StarCraft.
Number 9 says StarCart 2, everybody. Wait, what? Sherman, what is StarCart 2? I've never heard of that game.
StarCraft 2. You know,
What is StarCart 2, man?
from Blizzard Games.
Oh, the Blizzard? The
The
Blizzard.
Blizzard.
I think I'm not even gonna fix it. You're just like,
I did. I was waiting. I was waiting for you to be done to fix it now. It's
All right, well, that's StarCart.
StarCraft. StarCraft 2. You know, I'm gonna write that down. It just you never know.
StarCart is the sequel to the shopping simulator of 1998.
StarCraft 1? Question.
Yeah, it's where you gotta collect all the superstars and buy them in a grocery store. Because you got a cart.
It's shopping simulator of 1998. All right. Number 2.
I'm sorry, I'm still all about StarCart. Continue.
Well, speaking of Blizzard games,
Oh, I was
Mine-
waiting for this one to show up too.
yeah, this is like I think you can like figure out the rest of
Yeah, I know it there.
it. Number 2, World of Warcraft. I'm like calling out my expansion to its World of Warcraft: The Burning Crusade.
Okay.
This game was my really just a game that I learned how to be like a gamer playing. Like up until this point I really never well sorry let me explain like how I got into the game. Thanks for paying for my WoW account for like 2 years. Oh yeah.
What? You just paid for his WoW account?
I wanted friends, okay? I wanted Zach to play World of Warcraft, and the best way that I could guarantee that, and also we'll get to it. I was broke the game. I was not broke in real life. So I bought gold off of him.
So you gold farmed off your friend.
Yes.
So your friend was a gold farmer to you.
But basically the story for Warcraft or for WoW was I was a freshman in high school and I was in the robotics club. And shout out to Zach because
Of course you were.
Of course I was.
Of course you were.
Zach was one of the
Sherman, quintessential Sherman sentence. I was in the robotics club.
I was eventually the president of the robotics club.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
The thing like I just didn't I don't know, Zach can definitely attest to this. Megami. I just like didn't I wasn't great at making friends. Wasn't great at making friends. And I was in 2 clubs with Zach freshman year and I was in the guitar club and the robotics club. He was one of the first people to like, you're Sherman. He was like, I bet you don't remember my name.
That's a great way to make friends.
I was like,
hey, you don't know who I am.
I know who you are. I think he might have called me Michael at the time. Like, yeah, I don't think I was at Sherman level yet.
Who the fuck is Michael?
Yeah, exactly. No, but the like it's basically like those group of robotics people who are already in robotics. Zach was a year older than me, and then they were like, "Do you play World of Warcraft?" And I was like, "Of course I do."
Yeah, of course.
Go home, buy it frantically, run around as a rogue, get to level like 25, and I go back and look at that rogue today, and it's got like intellect gear and all these like terrible stats for it that it doesn't get anything from, and I just had no idea what I was doing. And but this was my like into like getting to know
friends,
like being
because you're into having friends.
These are the same people who also like got me into Dota and taught me how to torrent Warcraft 3.
It's the good friends always teach you how to steal shit.
Yep. Well, it was actually their own torrent too. It was like we didn't use some public thing. We used like one that was just our friends downloading from each other.
Why
I
didn't
remember
they
like leaving my internet up for an entire night downloading. Great. Uh, the um the World of Warcraft thing though, I wasn't like good at the game, and I couldn't figure out how to be good
Hey
at it.
Sherman, why are you not showing World of Warcraft right
Oh,
now?
oh, sorry.
This is Age of Empires. This is a pretty cool game. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your
No, no,
thought.
no, no, no.
Yes, I'm just being the representative of the chat because someone's got to do it.
The thing about it was I didn't end up leveling my first character. I had my first character was made by a friend of mine who had basically given up on the game because I was struggling so much. His name was
Mhm.
Brendan, and he started leveling up a mage on my account. Eventually,
Okay.
he got his account back, and I now had this like level 49 mage on my. I'm gonna try and pick this up. It took me for fucking ever. Like Zach started, I think Zach had started from level 1, time
Yeah.
that I started at level 49, and I think he still got pretty close to me. I think it was him and our friend Viet, who I know we were all three kind of like going for
Yeah.
it at the same time. Sorry, long story short, I hit 70 in this expansion that goes on to be my favorite expansion ever, and it's like the glory days for me of raiding. I
Mhm.
was raiding 5 nights a week, for 4 hours a night. It was the thing that was getting in trouble with my parents because my dad would walk up at like 1 in the morning and be like, "What are you still?" And I was like, "Dad, I'm raiding," and he would like sit on the bed behind me and like listen to our vent com,
Yeah.
like watch me raid, and it just was a I learned the thing was I was so bad at the game. Like
Mhm.
it took me forever to like you need to manage your hit rating and you need to like
Yep.
get crit up to this level. But eventually I got there. There were a couple of people who like I remember this one guy just like took the time to like mentor me.
Oh.
He was like married and his wife played the game and Zach was better than his wife. That's a whole it's relevant. It's relevant. The guy's wife got all the good gear, and Zach showed up in
Oh.
like really bad gear one day, and like did better, way more damage than her. And they were like, "You should go learn from him."
Yeah.
Exactly, Dagny. Shout out to Dagny.
Oops.
Uh, um, and yeah, I mean, like when it started to click, like I got good at it, and like
Mhm.
I ended up playing on like super competitive guilds, and uh,
Target Trasher water this week. It's amazing.
and uh, hey, she was great at crafting, getting all the
Yep.
so like still shout outs to Dagny. Yeah, as long as my computer worked, finally got good at the game, and I remember like the one expansion where I felt like I was put limit. I was doing the hardest content. I was
Mhm.
learning, and um I eventually had to like stop playing World of Warcraft because uh, I was time for me to apply for college, and my parents were
Which you
super.
never finished.
I never finished, so I mean, like, what was the point? My parents were like, "You need to stop playing. You need to like, can't play WoW. We're taking World of Warcraft away from you while you apply for college for the next."
Mhm.
Ended up killing rating for me, but I mean, like, some of my most. I met so. That is my story. Meeting strangers on the internet, strangers on the internet becoming my friends, thing I
Yep.
did, and just shaped I was as somebody who went at
Yeah.
at everything I did. And I'm not good at anything I do, but like I felt like I earned. Oh, getting into it. I just felt I don't know where this is going. It's just World of Warcraft was like such a cool game. I was super into the story. Like Illidan gives me fucking chills. Uh, the the up again music.
Yeah.
Um, you are not prepared. Walking through Black Temple.
You are not prepared.
I don't.
Even I know that meme and I never played it.
And I wasn't. I never killed Illidan while he was the final like the end game.
Yeah.
I beat him in the next expansion when I went back with friends. I am excited for like I know somebody earlier brought up like they were excited for WoW Classic. I'm excited for WoW Burning Crusade Classic. It was the hardest version. It was like the hardest expansion I really played, and it
Yeah,
it
Shifty and Ayun are the ones talking about how they're excited for Classic.
and I just so cool. Like being in a group with 24 people and working hard to accomplish things, and the drama of like keeping your guild together, and like just the game was not. I was explaining this to someone earlier today. 20%, 30% of my hours in the game were not spent playing the game. It was spent running in circles in Ironforge and being
Yep.
on Vent and talking to people. But like that was a huge part of the game. Like
Yes.
that counted for game hours. I have 400 days of gameplay on that account
Jesus.
on that character. So
Jesus.
like more than a year of my life was spent playing World of Warcraft.
Running around with Dalaran was way better.
I didn't lag in Ironforge.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah, I never, like I said, I never had my World of Warcraft stint the same way that everybody else did. It's something I was super jealous of, right? The true experience of having World of Warcraft. I never had it. So I've never had that like raiding party experience, if you will.
But before you say your number two, I just have to say, I think I know like what your next two games are, and
Okay.
I'm very interested to see the order. I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it, but
Number 2 is this little game called League of Legends.
damn it.
Number 2 is this little game called League of Legends. You may or may not have heard of it. So obviously it is very near and dear to my heart for a variety of fucking reasons. But I will say that probably the number one thing that League is a dead game. Thank you. The number one thing that League of Legends gave to me, in my opinion, is my marriage. So Shifty Cloak and I started playing together, started being friends, and started hanging out because of a non-video game that I would have included on this list, but it's not a video game. A little thing called Dungeons and Dragons. We started hanging out together because of it. We became friends, but we didn't really I think like one of the first big activities we did together, we tried to do World of Warcraft together because he had fond memories of World of Warcraft. He had things that he loved about it, and I was just not really into it. But the first thing that we did together, where we were learning side by side, was League of Legends. He had started maybe a month before I did, and so he was full of knowledge and wisdom, clearly. And we started playing in 2011. I started playing when Ari had just been released. She was on her free week rotation. She was the first champion I ever tried. Iron Reeves, there always was a mod in here because I'm right the fuck here. Spoiler alert. So it was the first game that we kind of did together, learned together, played together, spent a lot of time together, fought about together, because let's be real, that's how every couple plays League of Legends. They eventually end up fighting about it. But then also, like, kind of the same experience that you had with World of Warcraft earlier in high school, where you started to get friends and you started to play the game because you had your friends. I did that same thing just later, right? So I, growing up, was not allowed to play computer games or interactive games with other people that were not like Nintendo. And most people in my high school did not know I played video games. Most people in my high school never came over to my house for a variety of reasons. I didn't ever really chill and have bro time, if you will. Like, my friends would talk about having Halo nights, but I was never invited because I was the girl of the group. And in high school, you can't have a bunch of dudes having a sleepover, invite the one chick to the party. That's not kosher in the Midwest. So I didn't really get to have that sense of camaraderie with a group of people and having a LAN party and playing super duper late. And even when I moved to Los Angeles before I started working at Riot, being in like Mumble, because this was pre-Discord, or being in Vent, or being on Skype with my friends back home when I was here in Los Angeles made me feel like I didn't lose any of the friendships that I had built. So same reason why you love World of Warcraft is the same reason why League of Legends is such a huge thing to me, beyond the obvious. Like, I work there now, I do a whole bunch of other things, but the reason why I still to this day push for it so hard and try to work so hard with the community and trying to give the community a space to build and grow and create is I know what it provided for me, which was my husband, my relationships. 90% of my very close friendships come from that directly. And then I want to be able to give that to other people. So it was going to come up at some point. Y'all knew what party this was. So there you go.
I could just segue right into my number one with that because it's also League of Legends.
Hey!
The only game from this list that we shared.
No, that's not true.
Wait, your number.
One is Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda, motherfucker.
All right.
Your number 10 is my number 1, but continue.
So you were just tilted from the beginning.
Yes. Yes, I was. Shifty knew that coming into this. I and Reese knew this. Everybody who knows me knew what number 1 was going to be, and they knew the moment you said it. All right, continue. We're talking about League of Legends.
League of Legends.
First, League of Legends. We'll get to
First
Zelda
League of
in a minute.
Legends. God, where do I begin? I've played League of Legends for 10 years, so started in closed beta. I probably gave my first, like, one of my early beta keys to Zenakami. We expanded it out to the people I played World of Warcraft with. But League of Legends is like, it's, again, I keep, like, there are games on this list that, like, I grew up, like, because I played them. And League of Legends is the game that's, like, made me grow up the most. Made me learn the most of like who I am, and it's not just because I like, oh, I played logged into the game and played the game. It's like the things that it created for me. It was I got in a car in college and drove from Dallas to Austin with 4 friends, one of which I had just met when we picked him up to go to this tournament, and like stayed at some random person's house that I had met on the internet on cots in their living room, and like then went to UT Austin and played a tournament the next. It's the same game that gave me my opportunity to fly to Los Angeles because I had organized tournaments, because I was pissed off of how another tournament was organized and was like, I can do it better. And then that flew me to Los Angeles, where I saw my first ever event in a stadium that like was Season 2 Worlds. It's the same game that because of that, a year later, went to my first ever frat party, because at Season 3 Worlds, one of the frats at USC decided to host a
viewing party.
Well, it wasn't even a viewing party. It was a pre-event party where all the pro players were going and everybody in there.
Cool.
And like I went to this frat party and it was like the grossest thing I'd ever been to. A USC frat party is like something else. I'm gonna like keep spewing out a couple of firsts here. It's the first game that got me, or it's the game that got me my job. I work at Riot now. It's the game that made me drop out of college, and is the game that distracted me all through it. It's the game I use to stay in contact with my friends from college, and sometimes like my friends from high school. Game that's going to take me to Korea for the first time ever, and anywhere in Asia later this month. I just like it's hard. I get made fun of in my apartment about, because like my roommates, I don't think they actually hate it. I just think that they like
are sick of you talking about it.
Sick of me talking about it. Yeah. And it's just easier to make fun of me than it is to like support me. But I think like there's parts of me I can't even imagine a world in which like in 10 years I'm not watching World Championship. Yeah, the 2028 League of Legends World. Like that's just like a part, it's such a part of like who I am and like what I care the most about, and it's also like the worst leverage point for working at the video game company I work at. Like I'll never be able to convince somebody that I'm gonna quit the company because like I just care about the game so damn much.
Yep.
And everything it's given me, everything that and like I've been again, I have I I have like a cool experience of like being able to be a part of that now and like
Yep.
have turned that identity into something that I am a part of its identity now.
Mhm.
So I couldn't have imagined like any other role on this list besides number one. Um, yeah, League of Legends,
Maybe you've heard of
great
it.
game. Tell your friends.
Maybe you've heard of
Maybe you've heard.
it. So, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. First of all, before I even talk about this, what did you think my top two were? Because you were surprised when I said Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. So, what did you think the other one was?
So here's what I thought it was gonna be. I wasn't surprised it was a Zelda game. I just thought it
Mhm.
was gonna be Breath of the Wild.
No.
Which I'm
Nope.
clearly need to have a conversation with you. Why? But well, that's not what this list is for.
I'm happy to tell you why
Well, but
right
that's not
now,
what this
but
list is for.
Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was the first game that was ever purchased for me, and was not a hand-me-down from my sisters, not something that somebody else gave me. Hold on, I actually still have my own original physical cartridge in the other room. Let me go get that box just so you can understand why that one is number one. Give me
So
one second.
I actually thought that she was gonna say Breath of the Wild. I was hoping her number two was Breath of the Wild, and then we could both be like, "Is yours League of Legends number
This
one?"
is the original box that I was given for Christmas when I was like, what was this? 2000. This was 1998, so I would have been 8 years old. So I still have the original cartridge, or the original box, the whole shebang right here. You can tell that I have opened it like 1,000 times. And then if you go inside of this thing, inside of this is just a stack of papers. All right. There's obviously like how to store your video cassette, because I have not thrown away anything from this box. I have the Nintendo 64 like epilepsy warning thing in all of the different languages. And worse off than this box and this cartridge is this instruction manual. Just like, look at how this thing is falling apart. And it's not because I didn't know how to play the game, but when I was a child, my mother had a rule that during the school week, you cannot play the game. And if it was a weekend, you could enjoy the game, but on Sundays, you had to stop before 6 if you had school the next day. If it was a school break, you could play as much as you wanted. You could stay up as late as you wanted. But I could read this booklet as many times as I wanted. I could read this book over and fucking over and fucking over again and just like read this story about the Deku tree and like look at the map. Like I don't know how many times I just stared at this map of like all of these people and all of these creatures and all of these things that I was going to see, right? And I was just obsessed with this. Like I would play on the playground where I would pretend that I was Link. I was never fucking Zelda because the bitch never did jack shit. I was always Link, and I would like attack the monkey bars, and I would like lead this organization of like 30 other elementary school kids who've never played this game, have no fucking idea what we're doing, but we're attacking this thing, and we're attacking that other thing, and we're just doing shit, right? And to me, this is the reason why I played video games. Like, if I wasn't given this game, I would have ever played video games at any capacity, right? Because I didn't start playing the social aspect of gaming or seeing that until I was in college, right? So this is the original console with my original thing. I still have the plastic that goes around it because I threw away fucking nothing. Also in here is literal physical notes my mother wrote of all of the different songs and how you played them, because in the game I didn't know that it automatically stored it for you. So she wrote it down so that I could remember it, right? And we made a list, and some of these are like my handwriting from like I was 8 years old. And like so this just says soft soil locations, Lost Woods, left and again, behind the shop, there's one in the graveyard, there's one into the entrance to the Jongo's cavern, next to the Bean Boy himself. There's me trying to write, I think, the lake or something, but this is like 8-year-old Mel handwriting. Valley down, blue cuckoo area. Like this is just, to me, this was like my childhood wonder in a moment and in an instant. This is exactly why I play video games. Like I would have never gotten to League of Legends. I wouldn't have gotten to literally everything else on this list if this didn't exist. Lake Laboratory, probably, yes. The reason why, Sherman, you should have known, it's okay if you didn't, but the reason why you should have known is I walked down the aisle to Zelda's Lullaby.
Didn't know that.
Yes. So I had a string quartet at my wedding that played a variety of video game music, but the piece that I chose to walk down the aisle to, because it was literally like, if I think of being a princess and being beautiful, it was Zelda's Lullaby. And so that is what I chose to walk down the aisle to. And that's why when you started this list with this motherfucker at number 10, I could say nothing. I was just like, all right.
That's how it's going to be.
This is going to be a contentious conversation, because you just took literally my childhood and said it's good but not good enough. Man, like, it's on my fucking engagement ring. I have an ocarina. Somebody, Sircon, a coworker at Riot, gave me an ocarina. Can you hear me? Did our internet die?
Nope, I hear you.
Okay, good. Shifty, did you break the internet? Yes. Oh, he started downloading shit in the middle of my message about
Stream uncle, why you gotta break the internet?
So that's why fucking Ocarina of Time is number 1 and not number 10. Always and forever. Also, I did not like Breath of the Wild. I'm going to say it on the internet. I didn't like it. I have never finished the game because I got bored. Don't at me, bro.
I didn't finish. I got bored. Not my kind of game.
I've said this when I talked about Walking Dead. I am the type of person that is perfectly fine with a linear experience. I do not enjoy we have a rich story-based game that you have to be in the right place at the right time to experience, and maybe you'll fuck it up by coming in at the wrong direction, but you can run everywhere. I hate it. I was like, oh. Particularly also with Zelda, I am like, it's the only game I am a completionist on. But I felt like, okay, god damn it, I gotta like search through everything ever to try to find everything, and it was not fun for me to do that. I'm like, I gotta make sure I climb up this mountain in this particular path in this specific direction, and then I don't have any agency. I've never beaten Skyrim. I've never played through the entire game of Skyrim. I usually play like 20 hours of it and I get bored. Because I'm like, I have to go all the way the fuck over there and it's going to take forever and I'm just going to see the same shit 30 times and climb up a mountain and I'm out. Whereas if you give me like a little bit of exploration, but you have clear like beat moments that I'm supposed to experience in a way that you have artistically crafted, I'm on board that train. And that's why this one is better than Breath of the Wild. It always will be.
And every other game out there.
Yes. And Dragon Age Inquisition. I love Dragon Age Origins. Love Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Inquisition does the same thing where it's like, now we're going to be an open world game. And I'm like, nope, never finished it. Not about that life. Please, no, you're hurting me. H4, we can have differing opinions. Exhibit A, Sherman can be wrong and put Ocarina of Time at number 10.
Wait, let me just, I don't, hold on. Wait.
What are you doing?
I think there's a thing, right? non-biased, objective, totally right. Top
100%
10
real.
list. So H4, sorry, you can't have differing opinions. These are the lists.
This
is
is
it.
100% the list. That's the
Yeah.
only thing it is.
Yeah, it's the 1A and 1B, and then 2A and 2B,
Yep.
or even A and B makes them sound like they're
Yeah.
they're
I mean, to
like.
be fair, my list is right because Ocarina of Time is the top and not number fucking 10.
Are you sure mine's not upside? It's not. Mine's not.
Number fucking 10.
Number
Jesus,
9 is
dude.
not.
I'm just saying, dude. Like, you
I'm
open
sorry.
with my favorite
Like I
game.
said, hey, it could have. If I'm being honest, would you have rather it not been on the list? Because like, like I said, I introed Ocarina of Time with like didn't ever own it. It was one of those games I never owned. I had a totally different experience with it. But the game blew my fucking mind.
Sure.
Great game. It's
To be near. Yeah, I'm not an open world type of player. I'm not a turn-based type of player. I like this. Make this like 80 times. Can we just do that? I'll buy it. Nintendo, you know this. I'll buy it. I have. I'm trying to think of how many times I own Ocarina of Time. So I have the original version. And then they did like a re-release on GameCube. And then they did like Master Quest Edition, which where all of the dungeons were in the same place, but they redid what was inside of the rooms. I have that. And then they have it on the Wii and the Wii U and on the Game Boy.
3DS.
3DS, that's what I want. I own every single release of this game. Every single release. This is one of these games that if I sat down and tried to play it right now, I could probably complete the entire thing in like 4 or 5 hours because I know it like the back of my hand.
Did you ever see this guy? Sorry, this is like, I mean, obviously this is related, but like not related. I love watching speedrunners. I love watching speedrunners of Ocarina of Time. But have you ever seen a guy who was speedrunning blindfolded?
No.
There's this guy, it's amazing because he's like, he knows the game based on sound, basically.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a great game in so many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And like he would like
All y'all
know like,
keys. Fuck
oh, I
all
should like
y'all
run it. I mean,
keys.
like look at this guy. He's like literally wearing a towel over his head and headphones,
Yep.
and he glitches out right here.
Mhm.
He's about to like walk above the level.
Yep.
And he's running around like crazy
Okay,
for
15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
counting.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, good. What?
This is crazy. I can't
What the
steer
fuck?
anything,
Where am
but
I,
can just
dude?
see that it's gone nuts.
Now he's just like he's totally
what
fucked up for
happened?
the rest of the
Where
ride.
am I?
What happened? Where am I?
Where am I?
He's just like, this goes on for 10 more minutes before he's
Oh,
just like,
no.
I give up. And he's like, I don't know
I don't
what's
know what to
going
do,
on.
guys. I think I
Oh,
might have to reset.
no.
I
You
don't
got
know
so
what's
far too.
something happened. I don't know.
Being blindfolded. That's really far into the game.
And the best part is he
Yeah,
never
it's-
like he just
It-
restarts
something
the
happened.
game.
I don't know what happened.
He never
but something
takes off
happened,
his
and I
like
don't know what to
towel,
do.
so he doesn't know what's
I got
happened
lost for a long time.
afterwards.
Yeah.
That
He
was a
finally
big
later
time.
like when he finally takes
Something
it off, chat
happened,
is
though.
like
I'll-
trying to yell at him like, here's what happened.
Yes.
And it's just it's
It's amazing.
another it's one of my favorite, like I watched it live as it was happening. It was like nuts. Incredible.
Now you can tell Beerus that Breath of the Wild showed up nowhere on my list. Y'all need more Mass Effect in your list. I said that there was only one I made some rules for myself that I could have only one. I was trying to do only one Zelda game, and I was like, holy shit, no. So I was like, I could pick 2 Zelda games.
Your only one Zelda game meant that you were starting with Ocarina of Time at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, there's Ocarina of Time. I'm like, Jesus Christ, but what about Majora's Mask? So I had to add that one in there. And then I was like, okay, I have to do only one BioWare game, and I have to pick between Mass Effect and Dragon Age. And he is the Mass Effect fan. I am the Dragon Age fan. So
I'll show these were some of the other games that were like on my list.
hmm
Uh,
Like the runner-up, the contenders.
yeah, these were like this was like some of the games, and like some of these are duplicates, but like
Yep.
Borderlands, a Antichamber was like my favorite puzzle game ever. I like
Yep.
saw a review, was like, this is the greatest thing ever. Downloaded it and played it for 9 hours straight.
Yeah, Papers, Please was also almost on mine.
Papers, Please, like the game that made me cry on an airplane.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was like I never knew a game that like had such bad graphics could also be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just realized. Look up here on my other tabs. You just see there's a Google search for meme.
Just meme.
Meme.
Just meme.
Just meme.
Just meme.
Not even gonna explain why.
Just Googling meme.
Um,
Googling meme, Slack channel and Twitch. No, my Twitter.
Yep. The Papers, Please was basically like, I remember it just like the game scared the shit out of me. It was like an emotional like roller coaster of like just the idea. I was so afraid to get something wrong, and I would play
Mhm.
this game on a laptop while I was traveling for all the
Yeah.
time, and like I just remember one time like I got something wrong. I let someone through, and they ended up blowing up like
Yeah, it was
they
the
were a
bomb that did.
terrorist. And I actually like started tearing up like like I was basically like anxious as hell. And I just
Yeah.
started tearing up on this plane, and I like looked at the window. I was like, I can't let people see me like crying playing a video game on this plane.
Yeah.
I mentioned Tony Hawk. Got it on here
Pokemon
twice.
Red was on there. Yeah. I see
Pokemon
it.
Red, and Pokemon Snap. Like it was like I basically
Gotta pick one
one
Pokemon.
Pokemon game,
Yeah.
and I just know the Pokemon Snap so much better.
Never beaten a Pokemon game.
Portal. Portal was
Portal's
also
on there. Portal's so good.
Jack gave me Portal. Xenogami gave
Nice.
me a cracked version. And I was like, what is this game? And I like just assumed it was a shooter.
Yep.
And then he was like, no, it's not a shooter. Another thing. This is so cool. I like it.
Papers, Please, being emotional. Yeah, it was legal. It was totally legal. You bought it for him on Steam. You gifted it to him. That's what I'm gonna
I
go
don't
with.
even think so.
Nope, you gifted it to him on Steam. I
He
decided.
definitely illegally made this game.
Nope, he bought it for you on Steam because we are currently live in a recordable format.
Eh, what are they gonna do? Is the internet police gonna show up and arrest him?
Yes. Yes. Literally that. That's exactly what's going to happen. Meanwhile, Don Juan has just calmed down. He's now sitting on his bed behind me. Did you notice?
I did.
Isn't he cute? I put his bed up there so that when I'm streaming, you guys can see him because he's so cute. So cute. Do you now understand why when you started with Ocarina of Time as number 10, I just slid
Yeah.
to the bottom of my chair?
Yeah. Mel, I had so much fun doing this.
So did I. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I definitely
We had very different games.
very different
Other than
games.
two of them. Other than two of them. One of which was going to be hella obvious if we didn't include it on the list.
Yep.
The
Would have
other
been
one,
like kind of awkward if neither of us were.
that or we would have just had to say up front, we just can't put this one on the list. Just
Or if-
assume that
even
is top game number 0.
If one of us didn't, other would like you would judge the hell out of me if I didn't have legal.
I would have just assumed that you just kept it off because it was too obvious.
Fair.
That moment though, where you just like, my number 10 is Ocarina of Time, and I was just like, what? Why?
Why?
Why? Why? And I just wanted to defend it so bad, but I couldn't because couldn't spoil it.
Have you watched that sequelitis video that I linked? Was
Mm-mm.
talking about? You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
you might not like. Because It's like
Because he's trying to say that Ocarina of Time is not as good as Link to the Past. Yep.
no,
I know.
no, he's not necessarily saying that. He is saying though,
It's a series so huge.
Eminem.
he's like, was it really a good game?
Yes.
He's just comparing it to like what the Link to the Past was. Like Link to the Past, super linear.
Yep.
He argues that like they were just like, let's just make the 3D stuff or the 2D stuff 3D. And it's
Yeah.
like, you can't always do that. It wasn't always a good idea. And I'm like, I think I agree with most of those, a lot of the points that are in here. But I also like listen to a lot of your story, and I'm like, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
fucking matter.
Like that's not.
I will 100% agree that Ocarina of Time is not a good game if you play it as an adult. If you are playing that game with a full mental adult capacity to criticize and critique, even if you're like playing as adult in 1998, it is not as good. It probably shouldn't be on the top of the list, right?
Yeah.
And then you add in like we're in 2018 and this version of the game has been done so many times, right? But for me personally, like this is the me becoming interested in video games line. Like I wouldn't have played Dungeons of Dragons. I wouldn't have done anything in this capacity. I wouldn't have read The Hobbit or Dune or watched Star Wars or been a cosplayer or played League of Legends or done any of those things if I had not gotten to play Ocarina of Time as a child. So there is absolutely no way that any list that includes video games ever cannot have that at the top, because none of those other things would have existed in my life if this didn't exist. So
Yeah. I'm trying to think like what game.
like what was that moment for you?
Well, what was that game for me? Like if I hadn't played this game,
Yeah.
I think
But-
it. I think it was Pokemon Red. It's not on my
Yeah.
list, but like I think it was honestly Pokemon Red because at some point, I was a swimmer as a kid,
Yep.
and like I would do swim team
Mm-hmm.
at age 7, and
You
the
pretty to the
way
choir.
the way you fit in was you'd show up to your swim meet with your Game Boy and just play Pokemon. And at first, I didn't have a Game Boy.
Yep.
Man, did I not fit. My parents got me the Game Boy. I know like my first games were like I remember playing Mario Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Pokemon was it was the first game I ever owned.
Yep.
My yeah, I think that's
I think, like I said, just for me personally, it's like the quintessential thing for video games. So,
Yeah.
It would be pee stupid to not include it. Like, for example, I told the story at the beginning, like Castlevania was one of my earliest memories, right? But it was watching my sisters play the game. And my
Yeah.
sisters now don't play games. Both of my sisters in college had their own N64s. They both played Ocarina of Time, but by the time they played it, they were in college, right? So they were adults with the ability to be, thoughtful about it and judge it. And they both enjoyed it and they both played it. But beyond that age in their life, they never played games again. Like they don't ever play games. So and it's not, there's probably a multitude of reasons why some my sisters don't do that. But I think, to be honest, the reason why I, who grew up with a very similar capacity to them, have very similar interests in many similar ways, continued with it is because I had that experience just that much earlier.
Did you
So.
ask for the game or was
No.
it
No. So the reason why I had it is my mother played the original Zelda on the NES. So we had the original Zelda, we had the Adventure of Link, we had Castlevania, we had Star Tropics, we had like the shitty Back to the Future game. We didn't have that many NES games. My mother loved the Zelda games, and I always wanted to play the games, but like Super Mario, when you're 5, has a timer, and I was more about like being putsy and slow and walking around and getting distracted by things, right? So I couldn't play it quickly. So she went to a Best Buy and they were showing off the N64, and they were showing off that they had a new Zelda game to go with it, and I got to play the demo right there in the game, right there in the store. And the demo at the time was you were just walking around the little village, Kakariko Village at the beginning. And I was just talking to literally every single thing and person and human and picking up every rock. And my mom, I think, could just tell how much I enjoyed this like run around and be crazy experience. And so she got it for me for Christmas. And it was like the first console and the first game that was given to me.
Did you beat it as a kid?
No.
No. Yeah.
Nope, never did.
Yeah.
I got to the Shadow Temple, was terrified, and never played the game again. So I beat it the first time I actually completed the entire game on my own because my mother played it and I watched her play it. So I sat next to her while she finished the game as a child. And the first time I beat the game by myself, I was probably in middle school. And I had gotten the game when I was like 8. So I was in like elementary school. And I think also a big thing, this maybe is getting a little heavy, but my parents were in the middle of a divorce at the time, right? Like my parents were in the process of separating. My sisters had both gone off to college. Like I had to transition from being the youngest sister to having like being an only child essentially. My mother and my father were separating. Like so for me this was like the thing that I got to look at and pay attention to and think about. So it's just very different.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't beat it until like middle school.
Yeah. Well, that's like, that was Fantasy Star Online for me. It,
Mhm.
Red Alert 2, I never beat the campaign as a kid. Ocarina of Time, I never beat.
Mhm.
I didn't know it. I mean, I beat it, but like I said, we game sharked our way to the very end of the game and just fought Ganon.
Yeah.
Max hard every item and
No.
just missed so much in between.
Yeah. There's a lot in that game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the story is particularly good. Okay, I'm just bouncing all over the place and we're just ranting now at this point because we're basically done with what we came here to do. The other major reason I don't like Breath of the Wild personally
I was like, where is she going with this?
is they got rid of dungeons.
Yeah.
So they have the shrines, which are like, here's one individual puzzle, go solve it. And they got rid of, and they have the like beasts, which just feel like big shrines. They do not feel like dungeons. And to me, playing Zelda, even the original Zelda, is capstoned by the dungeons.
Yeah.
Like you make your progress
Yeah.
in the game based off what dungeon you're at.
Yeah. The thing I didn't like
And I
about
didn't like it at
Breath of
all.
the Wild was actually a couple things. I hated the weapons.
Mhm.
And it was partially because growing playing Ocarina of Time, it was got the Master Sword.
Yep.
Master Sword was the sword. That was
Mhm.
what you were there for. And like
Yep.
running around in Breath of the Wild and I'm just like switching weapons. I'm fuck, this weapon broke. I need to like pick another one. It's like I don't care about that stuff. Like I the whole time
Yeah.
was like, when do I get my shield? No, the
Yep.
the
When I get the Hylian shield.
Hylian shield and the Master Sword. That's like all I want. And I don't want it to break, and I just wanted that to be the whole thing the whole time.
Yep.
Because I'm sick and tired of like all these things
Breaking shit.
breaking and like spending time like going through the menus trying to like mid combat switch weapons. I was like, I'm not here for that shit.
Mhm. And then you have the other extra problem of, well, I can't see everything because I don't have something that produces fire. So I found this cool thing that I need fire for. Let me go find fire and hopefully remember where this is again.
Bye, Zach. Dropping in.
We're just ranting at this point.
Also, Zach, yes, I saw your tweet. You should meet Mel.
I will be there. Get ready. Hi, Mike P. The Sherman man is very handsome. I agree. Also, hi, Roland. I saw you slide in here. TLDR, I'm complaining about how Sherman put Ocarina of Time at the bottom of his list, and also why some people thought Breath of the Wild would be on there. It's not.
Magic could. I don't think anybody. I don't think any
Mhm.
Magic player would like at the end of the day feel right about putting Magic on here.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put Dungeons and Dragons on there, because
Yeah.
even though there's digital versions of Dungeons and
Yes.
Dragons, that's not a video game to me.
If this was top 10 games,
Mhm.
then it's different.
Dungeons and Dragons would probably be in number 3, and Castlevania would have been pushed off. Everything would have slid down.
Yeah, World of Warcraft trading card game. That might have just been World of Warcraft, and I would have just called it all. I don't know if that's That's cheating, definitely, but I don't know
Yeah.
what I would have taken off for.
Yeah, I would have just inserted Dungeons and Dragons at number 3, slid everything else down, and Castlevania would have popped off.
Settlers of Catan would also probably be
Yeah, I'm not a huge Settlers of Catan person.
a lot.
I have this one friend, Amy, who always just smashes sheep into everything, and it's really fucking weird.
In college, like Settlers was the drinking game that we played. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a drinking game as in like here's rules for the drinking game. It was just sat around, we drank, and we played Settlers of Catan.
Mhm.
I have a great video of like unlisted is my
You're
friend.
drunk and playing Settlers of Catan?
No, it was I'm not the drunk one.
Oh.
It was
Oops. I'm excited to see this video.
I thought it was on here.
Hey, everybody, go subscribe to Sherman at Bob Vader 15 on YouTube. Make
No,
sure you
this-
subscribe to watch his Rumble matches every single 3 years.
Oh, it's not on here. I guess no, it was totally.
Make sure you go subscribe to Bob Vader 15, everybody.
The only video I have that's worthwhile on here was I made an Udyr jungle bot that automatically jungle. That was it.
It was 5 years ago, too.
Yeah. Like show if I go to like
Oh my god, you just open up the League of Legends. Oh god, the old League of Legends, man. Holy shit, man.
what? Oh
H4,
yeah.
H4 just subbed to you. Oh my god, Omet,
Uh,
exactly. Are you telling me the UTD interview is not a worthwhile watch because I disagree?
So Mike B is from my League of Legends college.
I couldn't figure that out at all. I couldn't figure that out using context
He didn't go to school with me, but I met him through
I
friend.
totally couldn't figure that out.
There's me with
What does SF stand for?
those SS.
Oh my god, fucking baby Sherman with the fucking afro. Oh my god, every time.
This is us sitting in the living room.
Look at Sherman's fro in that picture. Jeez. Man.
This was us just talking about.
What SF is.
No, this was us talking about like I can't even remember the question. Or like, what does it mean to like? How did your team get involved with Ivy Law? Shit like this. That like hype video.
Yes, the Bob Ross Kappa is Sherman. Sherman is the Bob Ross Kappa. Sherman, if you ever get affiliate, can that please be your emote? There's
Yeah.
a picture of you with the like fro.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Oh, there's an even better one.
Please.
Hold on.
Everybody follow Sherman so that he gets
Fine.
affiliate. So we can have that emote in the world, please.
I'll show you the picture that needs.
I will sub so hard and give you $5 every month so that I can get that emote.
One picture. Like there are two emotes waiting to happen.
I mean, we gotta have something that's along the lines of my face. Gotta have something. You've seen my emote, right?
Yeah.
The Rek'Sai moment. My face. All right. I am
You're-
sleepy now. We've been talking about video games. Isn't there like multiple Slack emotes of your face?
About 7 or 8. Yeah.
Good.
That's the picture. That
Yes. That's the emote we need. Give that to me. I'll outline you, give you like a background, and boom.
And then
Done.
a day later from that picture, my hair's straight.
I have to wait for the delay. I gotta wait for the stream delay. Stream delay, why? Oh my god. No, I finally saw it. You look like a weird baby Charlie Hauser.
Oh
Am I wrong?
no, no, that's my worst nightmare.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Charlie Hauser is somebody who used to work in marketing with us at Riot and now works over at EA. He is amazing and awesome in multiple ways, but he's a grumpy old man. And I just called Sherman that.
So those are the two emotes. You would have like Sherman Curly, Sherman Fro, and like Sherman Straight.
Yep.
Two. I don't know about this video. Oh well. It's basically just a friend of mine yelling at us, like yelling while playing
Yes,
Settlers
I
of
even raised
Catan.
as the same person. It's the same person for Charlie Hauser cosplay day. Yes.
He was the dress up. Yep, Charlie has a. Is
Rest in peace, Charlie Hauser cosplay day. September 15th. You missed it.
that the date? Oh, that was your start.
No, September 18th is my start date, so it was like September 20th or something like that.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm tired. You want to raid somebody?
I've never raided.
I mean, first of all, we gotta find someone to raid.
Yeah.
So Blastoise is live. Nathan Blau's live. You want to raid him?
Yes.
So his name's Blastoise. So you do /raid in your chat, space
Aid.
space BLAUSTOISE,
And that's it.
and then you enter. Yep.
All right. And then that's it. Like
Yeah,
happens.
it's gonna start raiding, and it'll up on your stream in the top, like right above your chat in the little top section. It'll should start to say raiding in a few seconds. So whenever you're ready to raid, you just hit that raid now button.
We spam anything when we get there?
Ooh, what should we spam? What should we spam? We could spam just the generic raid emote.
About like Ocarina Time
Now Ocarina of Time #1.
number 1. Yeah. And 10.
Okay, let me do this. I'm working on it. I'm working on the message. Now you gotta have
okay.
you gotta have the emote in there. You gotta have the
All right,
emote
all
in
right,
there.
all right, all right. Right it, you're right it.
I am the experienced streamer, not you.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes. Okay. So this is the message. Gotta have those raids in there. You gotta have those raids in there.
All right.
So everybody copy pasta Ocarina of Time #1.
And then you decide if you want to put number 1 or number 10.
Oh, you decide #1 only. Here's another alternative, longer version of it if you want it. And we're gonna spam that over at Nathan Blast's channel. His name's Riot Blastoise. He's a Rito. He does inside shit. Right now he's playing a little game you might have heard of called League of Legends. Go follow him.
Shit game.
Thanks for inviting me on your channel, Sherman.
Thanks for doing this. I'm really excited we did this. All
Me
right.
too.
Thanks everyone, and wait.
Meow.
Yeah,
Well, you haven't actually rated yet because
I see. There's like a
you had to enter it.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
it's like raid now.
Yeah, and stream done. Yeah, automatically ended your stream. You gotta spam in his channel. There we go. Oh, my solid try is like, oh my god, it's Mel. Hi.
I should pull up his channel and know what I'm rating.
Yeah, you should probably. Right now he's playing Akali. He's also not paying attention to chat at all. Like we're just fully rating him.
All right.
He hasn't done jack shit.
Wait, did my stream automatically go? Anderson? No,
did.
it's still here. It's just sent all my users.
Oh yeah, you should end it.